Welcome to Truth Uncompromised. I am your host, Rhonda. Join us every Thursday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Truth is peace. Truth is justice and freedom to love, live, and be. Music provided by SourceVibrations.com. Right, family. Welcome to the Truth Uncompromised show. I am your host, Rhonda, and tonight is March 16th. We have a great show planned for you tonight. That was actually the Funkadelic. I hadn't heard that song. I remember it vaguely as a little girl, but the name of it is What is Soul? So when I bring on Brother Wendell, he's going to have to tell me who was on that electric guitar, and it sounded like somebody was throwing down on the harmonica. So we're going to have to chop that up. He's going to have to tell me that. But tonight's topic is actually Ka and Ba. What is soul? So we're going to get into the definition of what is soul, what is spirit. We're going to talk about the soul as it relates to us as a person. And we'll also get a little bit into how people without souls or how one becomes detached from their soul. So I'm really looking forward to that. We're going to chop it up a little bit with the news. I'm going to try not to get too much into it so we can get deep into the main topic tonight. So with that said, I'm going to bring on Brother Wendell. Let me bring him on. Okay, I thought I saw him. Sorry, Brother Wendell, you shifted. There you are. Okay. Hey, Brother Wendell, you there?
Yeah.
How you doing?
Man, hey, I didn't even know last Thursday was Thursday because I started my week started a day late.
Oh.
I was thinking it was Wednesday.
I didn't bother you. I said, man, he must have got tied up or whatever. We finished up the flat Earth theory,
Yeah.
so I didn't want to bother you, but we did miss you last week. So
yeah.
Certainly glad to have you back. You doing okay?
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Good. So before we get into it real quick, are you familiar with that Funkadelic song? What is soul? I hadn't heard it since I was a little girl.
All the Funkadelic. Yeah, man, I grew up on all that.
Yeah, who's on that guitar riff? It sounded like
Well, it might have been Boosie. So Boosie was him playing both all by himself.
Yeah, and I'll have to look it up because I don't know if that was an actual live harmonica because it sounded like Little Walker, something that he would have done. But I'm gonna have to look that up. But I had to bring that particular song in. I ran across it in the article when I was doing research for the show, and I'm like, oh man, I ain't heard that in a minute. I need to play it on the show today. So, all right, okay. We're going to get into the news real quick. I'm gonna start out with really quick on the financial side that the Fed, meaning the Federal Reserve, they raised interest rates 0.25% yesterday. So just real quick, basically what that means, I'm just going to refresh folk memory. When we had the 2008 financial crash, the first, folks blamed that crash on Greenspan raising interest rates, I think 4 times within 1 year. Okay, so of course that wasn't the one thing that crashed it. It was always like it is, their fraudulent ass system. They have no other choice but to bankrupt it at the 7-year mark because the structure is set up wrong. But the raising of the interest rates was one of the reasons, because what happened was they were giving out all that free money, and folks were getting home loans at 0% interest rates, but it would balloon at XYZ date, and based on their interest rates. So when those rates start raising, folks' mortgages started getting out of control based on the interest rate. They couldn't pay, and then that's what caused the housing crisis. So, you know, a lot of experts are now coming out to say that that's not a good sign, that the feds are raising rates. I've been watching it for the last couple years, and folks that, like myself, who, you know, do a lot of research and know that the economy is a sham, have been saying that as soon as they start raising those rates, folks are going to start to default on the debt, and it ultimately will crash the system. So, you know, we'll just continue to watch that. Okay. The other thing, real quickly, we had where Pope Francis last week. No, that was this. Yeah, it was last week. I didn't get a chance to report on it. It was reported out of RT News that now he came out and said, this was March 10th, that he has questions about God's existence and calls himself a sinner. So basically, he's coming out and saying that he has spoken about his experience in matters of faith crisis and opened up about empty moments, and they put that in quotes, while also stressing that he is a sinner and fallible. In an interview with the German newspaper, when asked by the German newspaper whether he had ever doubted God's existence, he said, I too know these empty moments. So basically, you know, the rest of the article, he's really kind of double talking about that's an opportunity for you to grow when, you know, you feel that way, et cetera, et cetera. So here's my take on this, and the only reason I bring the bullshit up, basically, because I just want to point out their own damn phoniness. Now, I thought allegedly and supposedly that what the Catholics believe is that the Pope is supposed to be the right-hand man to, quote, quote, God. So if you having doubts, you see what I'm saying? What the hell is you saying? I thought that folks had to go through you to speak to, quote, quote, God. But you going to sit up and have the audacity to say you have doubts? What kind of shit is that? It just shows you how these folks that set up these religions, anybody that claim you have to go through them to get a direct connection, they're full of shit. And I mean, you know, the Catholic Church has how many, although they are they're folks that are joining them, they're leaving in record numbers because of the whole sexual abuse and pedophilia thing. But that's just another example of the bullshit in religion. Okay.
Let's straighten something out, though, Ron.
Yes, sir.
Let's straighten something out. All of you out there who think you in a Baptist church, that's a Catholic church, because
It all rolls up
Vatican
to
don't
it.
allow nothing on this planet without their consent. You in a Catholic church. Don't come here and talk about that other crap because it's Catholic.
Yeah, ultimately it is. Absolutely it is. It's
That's
just
called
offset.
That's called conquer and divide. That's what that is.
Absolutely. And 256, I see you. I'm coming to you, sweetie. And then on another note, I forgot to bring the article over from last week, but on the whole sexual abuse stuff, the Catholic Church has set up some committee to say how they can prevent it, how they can heal the people, woo, this, that, and the third. So one of the members on that committee was a sexual abuse survivor herself. And I forget her position in the particular Catholic church. But anyhow, she wound up quitting this little committee, and she put their ass on blast because she basically said that they were stalling in order to make any changes to prevent sexual abuse of children now from happening within the church. Mm-hmm. So I saw that article before I got the article that I shared with you tonight about him talking about he got some goddamn reservations. I guess so.
Yeah, he got some reservations.
When the head of your organization is the biggest pedophiles on the goddamn planet.
Yeah, he got some reservations in hell. That's what he got him, man.
Exactly. It's just disgusting, and not to mention anyone that if you pay attention to when the Pope sits on his throne, his gold throne, which I just about want to damn vomit, you look in the back of him, there is a statue. That's a goddamn demon. It's disgusting. It is so disgusting. The fraud, the perpetual fraud that's going on in religion, and how the world has been mind effed into believing it, and they're tying their whole essence, their whole soul into some bullshit. And we're gonna go over that a little bit tonight. So, let me step off my soapbox. Let me get to 256. Go ahead, brother.
Hey, he got. As a matter of fact, he got 5-star reservations in hell coming.
Yeah, it's what you say, 5-star, all the way first class, baby. It's just some bullshit. Just the hypocrisy of it all. I'm just straight disgusted. So here we come, 256. Sorry about that, sweetheart. Okay, 256, your line is open.
Hey, how y'all doing, Rhonda?
Hey, beloved, how are you?
Superstar caller. There she goes.
I know you know she's gonna get hers.
Great weather here. It was beautiful today.
Good.
And I hope that brother chimed in early that got cut off because the show was ending. I hope he chimed in early so he could finish what he had started, the comment. Love listening to that brother. And I know Wendell had to prepare those ribs for next week, so I know he was busy. To make this call next week. Marinating them ribs, Wendell?
Yeah, okay, whatever.
Oh, man, this is so good. Great topic. The rascal know he ain't got no soul. It's just part of the ongoing plot. And now their strategy, okay, is to move them away from what they did, what the Council of Nicaea creating this, right? Is to move them out of that scenario. See, he's Luciferian. His God is Lucifer. And we know that all of us who follow him also follow Lucifer. They changed the calendar to make it convenient for us. So Sunday is our day, and they got all their little pagan holidays that keep our mind focused on Lucifer and them. the energy. Now he's taking us away from that Godhead into the real Luciferian God. So now you got to destroy the Christ, and you got to destroy this and that and that. It's just one ongoing scenario with this blood dripping, little baby eating demon they call the fake Pope. That's all it is. This is his ongoing, and he figures. This is my just conjecture, which I don't think he figures at all. I don't even think he has a mind. It's totally controlled by the blood that's been soaked into his head. If I was going to think about it at all, I would think he knows he's a demon. He wishes the whole spirit that he worships has been working all these thousands of years of Luciferian spirits and demons. So how could there be anything else that's more powerful?
Right.
Because it would have resisted
some. Right. Yeah. Huge mistake.
Thank you for letting me chime in. I really appreciate it. And Sis Rhonda.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm a good girl now.
Okay.
So I only chime in one time. And if you see another 256, it's not me. You know, there are other 256 on the planet.
I'm trying to remember your the other first three of your numbers. But I know that 256 that come in first, 99.9% of the time, that's you.
Well, I would figure I would finish out with this little pat on the back for me, because I do work at not chiming in, but more than once, unless you invite us. Okay, callers who've called in before, welcome back. Come on and come in. If you welcome us back, I was more than happy. But I'm being a good girl, and I'm going to allow all these other intelligent callers, because I really enjoy hearing what they have to say also. So I have to resist that impulse of trying to get in again.
Yeah, but you feel free, sis, and, you know, I try to be fair and let other people get it in, but, you know, if you want to get back in the queue, get back in the queue. With this new system, sometimes the little question mark never goes away, so it's hard for me to know if you're re-raising your hand or not.
So with this technology and all the shenanigans that can happen, it's not me.
Okay.
Now, if you say, hey, you guys who have chimed in, come on back in, I hear that, then in the event I have something that I think I can contribute. Because sometimes I don't really have anything other than just to say, hey, Rhonda, I'm so glad you're having a show. Hey, Wendell. So thank you.
All right.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Okay, you too, sis. Peace and love. That was considerate of sis. Okay, family. I'm not going to do any more of the news. That's about it. The only other quick thing to look out for, it is also rumored that the debt ceiling, they're at their debt ceiling right now, meaning the U.S. corporation, they're scheduled to run out of their fiat from the debt ceiling that they have set in June. It's really even sooner than that. So you'll start to hear pretty soon them talking about raising that debt ceiling limit, which is always really what they really mean. They broke as hell, which we already know that. So just pay attention to that as well. Okay.
Hey, if they say anything about it, it's going to already happen.
Yeah, because I saw this article mentioning that, saying that they're not talking about this debt ceiling limit, because remember they had pushed it out or raised it again when right before Old left, because they had to do that to get over the elections, to get them through the elections rather. So, you know, we're going to be right back at that point again, and that's basically them kicking the can down the road. That's all the hell that means. It ain't nothing new to it at all. So just pay attention. We'll just keep paying attention and see what they're going to do. Okay, we have a couple of follow-up items. Brother Jordan, who came on, who is Sis Sandra's son. I did not know that. All that time we was chopping it up via email. I did not know that was mother and son. But anyhow, he sent me. He was on the first time we did the Flat Earth show, and he was talking about that secret space war where there are like I think he said like a black spaceship that they really shot at, and I can't remember if he said that they shot it down or they shot at it, and it's kind of been on and popping since then. So guess what showed up in the Daily Star? It says, Secret Space War, shock, claim, U.S. Navy fighting intergalactic battle with reptilian alien. Now, the Daily Star is like the Inquirer for those of you that's, about my age, when the Inquirer used to be off the hook. Back in the day, you could buy it at the little grocery store when you was standing in line, and they always had talking about Elvis was living and such and so spotted an alien or such and so is an alien. So it's a tabloid, okay? So sometimes, well, I wouldn't say sometimes. Some folks say that a lot of the stories in these tabloids are true, and it was interesting. If any of you remember the Men in Black movie, that's what they were using the Inquirer as their source of news to go look for what was going on in alien activities. Okay, so I found that interesting that Brother Jordan was talking about that, and lo and behold, here's the article in the Daily Star. And this came out last year, August 26th. So real quick, it says fleets of Star Wars style U.S. Navy space fighters have been covertly protecting our human race from reptilians for attacks for decades, according to UFO author William Tompkins. The 92-year-old writer claims to have worked in the aerospace industry for a think tank tasked with designing kilometer-long anti-gravity spacecraft for the U.S. Navy in the 1950s and 60s. During this period, the former Navy insider turned whistleblower claims to have personally designed 5 spaceships and 30 support ships. In the new book, Selected by Extraterrestrials, he claimed these massive Navy interplanetary craft were created to fend off the invading lizard aliens who want to enslave the human race. These space wars, said to be very short, have been happening for decades, right under our noses, he claimed. However, in the book, he warns that the lizard aliens are becoming stronger and urges the Navy to beef up their defenses or face a reptile rule. Apparently, the U.S. Navy works closely with Nordic aliens who have similar large moon-sized spacecraft capable of beating reptile attack ships. The Nordic apparently came from the Orion constellation and influenced the building of the pyramids. Meanwhile, the reptilian enemy attack various planets, take them over, and put their inhabitants into slavery. But humans and the Nordics, who work with the U.S. Navy to develop advanced space ship technology, have joined forces to build a variety of Star Wars-style space fighters. So I'm not going to go through it again because it just kind of goes on into Thompson's background, et cetera, et cetera. So I just wanted to peep the family that how we had just discussed this last week, and all of a sudden Brother Jordan brings up this article. So pretty interesting. Another follow-up, Brother Wendell, I remember you had asked, I think it was on the first show we did on Flat Earth, did I see, damn it, Oh, this is bad. Arrive. Is it Arrival? You know the movie I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Oh, is that Arrival? Am I right?
Yeah.
Okay. I watched it this weekend. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm rum. So the entities on the little Arrival, they look like octopus to me.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and I'm bringing this up because when we talked about the whole flat Earth theory and concept, we talked about the dome, and whether or not you want to say that dome is a force field, an energy force field, grid line, crystalline. But above that, we said there is another density, which is water or an ocean. Okay. So in the movie Arrival, check it out when you get a chance. The little alien beings come down. They come down in this spaceship, and they never show how they get into our atmosphere. They just start the movie with them, and they like post it up with different parts around the little planet. And they never touched down on the ground. Their spacecraft was kind of suspended. So the folks went up in the spacecraft, and the part that tripped me out is when they went to the spacecraft, how the direction changed, and it was almost to me like they were entering kind of like another like dimension. It's hard to describe. The other piece to it, it was a shield between the folks that came up there to observe and communicate with the aliens. There was this glass shield. So the aliens come into play, and at my line window, wasn't it some big ass octopuses? Two big ass octopuses.
That's what they look like.
Okay, and so they communicated with them with their little tentacles, but it spit out ink. And it made these little symbols. I said, so hell to the no. You're going to make a movie about some octopus aliens. And then when one of the ladies had wind up crossing over that glass barrier, she was in the aliens barrier, and her lungs had to get used to the new atmosphere. And when she was walking across it, it looked like clouds to me. And so I'm like, oh, hell no. So long story short, with all that said, what the aliens were bringing to them were a form of language. Okay, so you'll have
universal language.
A universal language. You'll have to go through the rest of the movie, but it just tripped me out that they were clearly throwing in our face that these aliens are octopuses. So if the aliens came from, quote, quote, out of space and they're octopuses, then goddammit, didn't they come from the sea above us? So that was just really, really, really interesting. And so another follow-up on the flat earth, there is a Hennessy commercial. Go to YouTube. Hennessy the liquor. This particular commercial, and I forget the inventor's name, talks about a scientist that supposedly got far enough above the earth to clearly see that it was flat, and he saw that it was a dome. So in this particular commercial, they show him bursting through the firmament. And once he burst through, what did he hit? Water. So check out that Hennessy commercial. There is another gentleman that kind of breaks that commercial down. I think it's about 15 minutes. And he talked about how this was a real scientist that did this study, and he was even published in their own scientific journal explaining the shape of the planet. And it definitely wasn't a doggone ball. So those are the two follow-up items from flat Earth. Okay. The last follow-up item, I ran across something because we also, in the last couple shows, the Mandela effect has been coming up. Now, we did a show on that a couple of months ago, and last week, the Mandela effect came into play again on show one of the our family callers had brought it up, and we chopped it up on that. So now I was just actually doing research from the show when I ran across this video, and a lot of you may know this brother. He's a young brother named Young Pharaoh, and we have actually another video from him tonight that I want to play. But this particular video, he talks about the Mandela effect and how it is tied to spiritual warfare. So he is basically stating how the whole Mandela effect, that they are manipulating the timeline, because that's what the Mandela effect is. It's a manipulation of the timeline. And so he talks about how they're using that, and I'm looking for the video too. I hope I can find it. I know I uploaded it. But anyhow, how they are using the manipulation of the timeline to bring back certain entities, to try to change events, to shut people down, etc. So let me see if I can find it. It will be well worth our time. If I can find that. So while I'm looking for that, Brother Wendell, did you have anything you want to add and put on it?
No, that Arrival was a real good move. You just sit there and watch it. I recommend that to anybody. Go out there and check that out.
Yeah, it's a very good movie. And I had kept trying to look at it, but then when you mentioned it again, I said, you know what? Let me go back and try to watch this movie again. And I said, oh, I see what Brother Wendell was talking about. So yes, it is well worth the watch. Very, very well worth the watch. I don't think I could find that video. Damn, I really wanted y'all to hear that. I may have to play it next week. Let me just make sure one more time. Sorry about that, family. Damn it, sometimes I think stuff is uploaded and it's not here. Let me make sure. Nope, I don't think it's here. Nope, it's not here. Okay, sorry about that. I'll get it for you next week as the follow-up on that Mandela effect and the spiritual warfare. He did an excellent job with that, breaking down what he feels they're trying to do with the whole Mandela effect, and he even put it into perspective with CERN. So I will get that to you all next week. All right, so here we go. Let me get 661 before we move on. So 661, here we come. 661, your line is open. Hey, sis, how you doing? Welcome back.
I'm doing good. I was so busy I forgot about the time and it got away from me last week. I apologize.
That's okay. No worries, no worries. Hey, I understand folks busy. Stuff happen. No worries at all. So we're going to go ahead on and get into it tonight. The car and the bottom. Go ahead.
I did want to bring up a couple of things. My son's name is Joe Don, and the satellite is called the Black Knight.
Okay, the Black Knight. Okay.
Yeah, the Black Knight. If the young man, the Pharaoh, he's probably, with the video, he's probably going to go into what Daniel was given in chapter 7 about the prophecies of the end time and how the angels, that's the spiritual part of it, is going to have to fight them because they're going to do the times and the dates. They're going to try to change.
Yeah, and I'm gonna I'm going to try to pull that video and upload it so we can listen to it. I don't know what the hell happened to it where it got cut off. So Jordan, that's
Jordan.
our brother. Okay, Jordan. Yeah, he dropped some real good information. We've been chopping it up on Facebook for a minute, and I never knew that was your
he
son.
told me he used. I don't have Facebook, and so I said, Facebooker. I don't do Facebook,
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah.
That's too much government for me.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I know exactly what you're saying. Okay. So tonight's topic is the Ka and Ba. What is the soul? So we're going to go into a little bit. Now, I was always taught that Ka and Ba represented spirit and soul. You can go out there and find a wealth of information, but here's the catch. Everybody has different definitions for Ka and Ba, spirit and soul. So I'm going to go into the typical definitions, and then we're going to get deep into the soul. Now, also notice, before I forget, Ka and Ba are also a part of Kabbalah. Okay, So just take note of that etymology. And anybody that's familiar with Kabbalah, they have their own numbering system, and that numbering system is really in the shape of a mandala or the flower of life. Okay, none of that's a coincidence. And make no mistake about it, the fake Jews did not invent that. That was science taken from our ancestors, actually straight out of Kemet. Okay, and I'm sure it probably goes back further than that. All right. Okay, so the typical definition that I found for spirit, it says the non-physical part of a person that is the seat of emotions and character. And then it also says the soul, okay? And then they also put in there short for Holy Spirit. Okay, so when you look at the typical definition for soul, they go into the spiritual or immaterial part of a human being or animal regarded as immortal. Okay. So typically as I was researching this, I saw a lot of times when they associate spirit, they all tie that connected to soul, and a lot of places even said that the spirit was the soul. The further you go back into the ancient texts, they clearly make a separation between spirit and soul. The one thing that was consistent whenever you research or talk about the soul, the key is they always say that the soul is immortal. Okay, so meaning it can never be killed. It will always be. Okay, so we're going to go into an article by the Huffington Post, and they had and this was back in 2012, and this was actually, they were doing an expose off of Oprah's own channel. And now this is just my 2 cents. Y'all remember before Oprah got on, she had got into the whole spirit and soul stuff and knowing your purpose, and damn, what was that other book she was promoting real heavy? Damn it. I can't think of it right now. It'll come to me. But anyhow, she had really got into that, and then on some levels, although it was very watered down, she was kind of going there a little bit. she started to get a little bit on the metaphysics side. And that's when, folks accused Oprah of being too preachy, whatever. And so then next thing you know, she was spinning off with her own network. And when she went with her own network, she kept up that same thing. Actually, she was heavily into spirituality, and she actually still has Super Soul Sunday. But a lot of her earlier programming were around, I would say, watered down metaphysics, spirituality, and then she had a lot of infomercials. Well, she didn't get a lot of sponsoring from advertisers, and she almost went under. She almost went bankrupt, and she had to call on Tyler Perry to create some shit, this, and that. So I'm saying all that to say, I know some say that she almost went under because the folks that put her on the map, the high up in Hollywood, never wanted her to break away on her own. Because, of course, that's less money for them to make off of you, and plus they can tightly, knitly control your content. So I also think that the big picture that folk were missing was the fact that they felt that Oprah was going to get too much into the spiritual, metaphysics, science part of it. And perhaps, now this is just my little lowly 2-cent opinion, she could have been started getting into their secret society shit and the science that they use, because she was starting to talk about universal laws, really manifestation, although she wasn't calling it manifestation. She was calling it creating what you want. And I think they kind of got a little spooked and tried to shut her down. So they must have had a good talking to her, because she doesn't get to that line of really getting into that scientific metaphysics soul side anymore. Now it's like really, really watered down. So that's my 2 cents. But anyhow, this particular article out of Huffington Post, they did this back in 2012, which is interesting that this was back in 2012. Actually, they released this on 12/25/2012. Ain't that something? Anyway, it's What is the Soul? Eckhart Tolle, Wayne Dyer, and others define it. So it's actually a clip with these folks, but I couldn't upload it for you. I couldn't get it translated. But the article says that in the clip of the Soul to Soul episode, Super Soul Sunday, Oprah asked today's top spiritual experts to define the soul. So Oprah asked, what is the soul? And so Gary Zukav, the soul is that part of you that existed before you were born and that will exist after you die. It is the highest, most noble part of yourself that you can reach for. Iyanla says, the soul, I believe, is the fingerprint of God that becomes a physical body. I believe that. It's the fingerprint. It's unique to everybody. Deepak Chopra. The soul is the core of your being. It is an eternal. It doesn't exist in space/time. It's a field of infinite possibility, infinite creativity. It's your internal reference point with which you should always be in touch. Devon Franklin, the soul is the spirit. See, there we go with folks mixing the two, the soul and the spirit. It is the connecting line to God. I believe the soul is where the Holy Spirit resides. He must be a preacher. I believe that it is literally, when you pick up the phone and then you have your 4G network, the soul is the 4G network right to heaven to me. I'm going to be willing to bet that he's a preacher. Sarah Ban Brethnach. The soul is the spiritual essence of who we really are. Daniel Pink, the soul is, I think, our capacity to see that our lives are about something more than simply the day-to-day and that we're here for a purpose. It could be connected to religion or not, but that there is a purpose of you being here. Debbie Ford, to me, the soul is a part of us that never dies. It is who we are at our core, and it carries all the messages and the lessons that we've learned in the past, and will carry all the lessons and the messages that we will carry into the future. Now, Eckhart Tolle says the soul is your innermost being, the presence that you are beyond form, the consciousness that you are beyond form. That is the soul. That is who we are in essence. And then another guy, Michael Singer, says the indwelling consciousness that watches the mind come and go, that watches the heart come and go, the emotions of the heart, and watches the world pass before you. The consciousness, the center of being is soul. So Wayne Dyer says the soul is birthless, deathless, changeless part of us, the part of us that looks out from beyond our eyes and has no form. The soul is infinite, so there is no in or out of it. It is everywhere. There's no place that it is not. Okay, so let me see. Some of those I'm not going to read. This person, Lewin Von Lee, the soul is a divine part of ourself. It is our divine nature. It is a part of us that is one with God. Everyone has a soul. I don't want to agree with that. We're going to get into that a little later. It is the immortal, internal part of ourself. It never dies. It's immortal. It belongs to God. And Gene Houston, the last one is, I believe the soul is the essence of who and what we are. I personally believe that it transcends our leaving this mortal coil. I think it comes with codes and possibilities and the next layer of who and what we may yet be. It is often a pain in the neck because it says, wake up. It's time to wake up. Don't go to sleep. I think it is also the lure of our becoming. That's what I think the soul is. So I'm going to pause in case Sis Sandra or Brother Wendell want to put something on it before I throw my little 2 cents into the mix.
I'd like to say something.
Absolutely.
I was just looking at Yusuf L's website, and he had a posting that C.S. Lewis said about the soul. C.S. Lewis says you don't have a soul, you have a body, because your soul is your body. So you are a soul, he says. So when I was reading Yahoo a couple of 3 weeks ago, they had 16 things that your children have said about their previous life that is really, what they call it, spooky or weird or something, they said. And they had 16 children who made comments about their previous lives. Now, these children were like 2 years old, 2.5 years old, 3, 5, something like that. And they were telling their parents that they died, and one said to the parent, I'm a little older this time, because they went to this neighborhood that this kid, I think, used to live in his previous life, and the parents hadn't even taken the child to that neighborhood, but they knew the neighborhood because they had relatives or something there. And he said, this is where I died. And they said, what? He said, this is where I died. I'm a little older now, but I got run over here, and I died here. And the house used to be white. I'm just kind of paraphrasing some of the things they were saying. And the parent this is a little kid talking, and they said they had never told a child that they had been in that neighborhood. And then they had one little 2-year-old girl just was bawling. She said, I just got married. I just got married. And the parent was like, what do you mean you just got married? I just got married. And the child was very, very unhappy because they just realized they're 2 years old instead of the person they used to be. When I was talking to a psychologist when my brother passed on, he was telling me a story about a 5-year-old kid, and he said they have thousands of reports like this, not just a few, thousands of them. And his grandmother had brought the little boy in for psychological, evaluation because the little boy would tell stories about his previous life. And he said he told his grandmother that he was a sailor or a soldier, and he was in a bar, and there was a fight that broke out. And he said he went through a plate glass window. And the first thing he felt excruciating pain, and then it was darkness. And then he woke up, and he was in a beautiful garden. And then he said, then it was darkness again, and now I'm here. Now, I told you I had a experience with death with my surgery, and they said I didn't breathe for a very long time. And I asked the doctor, are you saying I was clinically dead? And the doctor just hesitated. He said, well, you didn't breathe for a very long time. And I said, wow. And so I remember there was darkness. There was a flash of light. And I felt my soul being sucked into the body because I knew it was the body because it was pain. I was still in pain, excruciating pain, surgery. So, and then I finally heard my hearing came back, and I heard people yelling at me as though they were from a long distance away, but I'm sure they were right at me, and they were hollering at me to breathe. So there is the flash of light that people are experiencing when they go out, and then there's that flash of light, I suppose, when they come back. And, people will say this stuff all the time. But the body is still, hurting, but when you're out of the body, you don't feel all that stuff. You can't hardly hear what people are saying to you and all this kind of stuff. So the soul, I'm thinking, I've been weeks trying to figure out what in the world, but the soul is separate from the body, and the body is just a vessel in which we have to operate in this air chamber of where we can. This is our earth suit. This is what I call it. And because we have to have an earth suit to do the atmosphere and do the environment that we are in as humans. And so when you look up at the space people, they have this big old helmet on their head and these thick suits because they don't have any way to breathe up there. And if we have a dome over us and there's water on top of us, they would have to be in a swimsuit or a diving suit.
That makes
like
more
that.
sense now, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does make a whole lot of sense. And so we are in a suit for this Earth atmosphere. It's just like in the Lost Book of Inky. They had to put on their swimsuits to come here. So what were they actually before they put on their swimsuits? Before they divided, before they divided the atmosphere so they could breathe it without it, because they always had to have those suits on. So anyway, from my own experiences, that we do have a soul and it resides in the body. And people say they see their bodies laying as they float away. And they could tell you everything that's happening in the room. They'll tell you what the doctors are doing to them, the nurses everywhere, everything they're saying and everything. And people think that's really kind of weird, but we have to occupy a body to live in this atmosphere, I do believe. And And with that, I yield.
All right, sis. So go ahead on, Brother Wendell. What's your take on it?
I want to make a point. You said something about the word Kabbalah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say cause the spirit and the body, the soul?
Mm-hmm.
What if? Just this is a question. Just what if what they are studying is the spirit and the soul of Allah, Kabbalah?
Arm, leg, arm, head.
Kabbalah. You said Kabbalah. You know at one time there was no such thing as a vowel. Kabbalah.
True.
What if that is the study of that? That's just a question to put out there. Make it think.
That's interesting. So you're saying that really the Kabbalah is the study of the spirit and soul, not so much of this and the religion that they're claiming.
Right.
Exactly.
See, they are still referencing Allah.
Mm-hmm. Arm, leg, arm, head.
The study of the spirit and the soul of Allah. That's just a question to put out there to make you think.
That's very interesting.
But see, they doing it on the slide now, letting you know that.
That's true. And, and I still say anybody that you want a good breakdown of Kabbalah, Dr. Phil Valentine, he did the best breakdown. The video is about 3 or 4 hours long. You can go find it on YouTube. And he even shows you how the numbering system on Kabbalah, because like I said, it's literally the flower of life or the mandala, and they associate numbers on it. And he shows you how they use that numbering system to, quote, manifest stuff. So that's very, very interesting that you say, could it just be really them studying the spirit and soul?
Well, they also use it for creative.
Wait a minute.
Yes.
Wait a minute. You missed it. You missed the question. The spirit and soul of Allah.
Quote,
yeah,
God.
There you go.
Okay. Does somebody have us on speaker? Because there's the echo.
No, I'm in a room. I'm in a brand new room, and it's echo like that.
Oh, okay. Okay, it's bouncing off. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so the study of the spirit and soul of Allah.
Because when you say that word, that's what you're saying, Kabbalah.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly what you're saying. So, sis, darn, you said something, and I want to make a point on. What did you say before?
It's a creative way. It makes manifest out of the material into the spiritual.
Absolutely.
Because it's a pathway. It's a pathway for manifestation. And they use it to create.
Yes, they do.
So you can use the language of Kabbalah, the numbers, because numbers have power and the letters have powers, and they call that the Sifra. And I'm kind of familiar with this stuff. So they use that, and if you look at Ezekiel, you'll find that Ezekiel did it. You look at Thor. Thor did it. He made manifest by using certain tools to create or symbols, like voodoo.
True that.
Same.
True that.
Yeah.
It makes manifest what you want to happen. But you have to have the car, the bar, and the vehicle, and you have to have the right letters and the right wording and phraseology to make it manifest.
Right, but oh girl, now I done got excited. But the Kabbalah structure, that mandala, that flower of life, that's what they're literally teaching them, because it's the numbering system on that mandala, and based on the combinations that they put together is what they're trying to create. You're absolutely right. And they line it up with the cosmos.
Yep.
To bring it in.
In other words, they're lining up with the Creator.
Exactly. To get to the all-knowing eye, that all-seeing, that the Darth, they pass Darth, and then they get up to the third eye. I think that's what they call it. And that's when you're one with the Creator.
Now, that same Dr. Valentine YouTube video, I'm telling you, it's bad as hell, y'all, because he put a lot of work in that. I got to give my hat off to him, because I truly came out of that inner and overstanding Kabbalah. But he also talked about how if you don't have that quote, quote, God particle, that essence of melanin that ties back to the source, you can only operate within that mandala.
That's right.
You can never go outside of that. Exactly. Third density. Very doggone good, sis. Very good. Very good. And we're going to talk about that a little later, because I have a clip from Brother Bobby Hemmett, who breaks down in a different way. He talks about folks that don't have that God particle, and he ties it to what they're really doing on those astral planes. So we're going to get into that in a little bit. But, okay. Very, very good conversation. Woo! Okay, very good. Okay, so now I'm going to be a little bit sneaky here with you all. So what is, and I'll start with you, sis, what is your concept of the spirit?
Well, I think the spirit is more like the mind, and that's the consciousness of, that the generator to make things happen, to make you think and see the world and how you. It's a translator. I don't think we have. Christianity says you have a spirit. The spirit makes you move. I think the body without the mind can't process that stuff. So even if you had a body or just a soul, you can't pick up the goodness of life. You have to have a mind to realize that it is good that you're looking at. You have to have a mind to decide what's good and what's bad, and that translates it to the soul. And the soul leader accepts it and say, hey, I'm going to take that, or the soul says, nope, I don't want to go that way. But the mind is the one who translates the impulses that we see in the world. And I think that's what the spirit does. That's what I think on it.
Okay, so you're saying that you think that the spirit is like a translator per se, from a mind perspective.
Right, because if you close your eyes, you don't see anything, so your spirit is really kind of going to sleep. But if you open your eyeballs and look at the world, and you use your senses, because the mind filters in everything that's in the world. If people say things that are good, the mind says, "Ooh, that was good," and then the spirit is that instrument that takes that. And, it's like they're transmitting information to each other. I don't think it's just the mind. I think the mind is translating it to the spirit, and the spirit takes it to the soul, because everything is they're always saying called soul deep. You have to really feel it in your soul, but you first have to get it in your mind. You know, you have to get it in your mind to feel it in your soul.
Okay.
And so that's what I think it is. Yeah, I think it's a translator. And the Holy Spirit, you know, the church is the one who, I think, coined that phrase, I should say. And they start breaking down God into three parts. Well, God is three parts. He's one whole. He's a whole energy center. And the church makes everybody believe there's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And now, you know, they're coming out there, Pope Francis talking about he's going to tell everybody what the real name of God is. So when you say stuff like that, that means you manipulated the word, and you've changed the whole meaning of who God is, and he's all law, all of it, all law.
Right, the all in all, I always say, mama and father, because to me it's not. Yep. The all in all, absolutely.
You can't devoid the spirit from connecting to the soul, and you have to have the brain to get the spirit to work, because you don't live in spirit, you live in a body. So, and the spirit connects and communicates to the soul. That's my understanding.
Okay.
We're not, but your consciousness is what you transmit to the soul that lives forever.
Okay, I got that. So, at 313, I see you, sweetheart. I'm coming to you in a second. I'm gonna get Brother Wendell's take, and then I'm going to bring you in. Okay, Brother Wendell, what's your concept of what is spirit?
Your spirit is your actual being, and the soul is the seat or the throne of your actual being. That's in your bosom. And if you look at in the concordance of the Bible, and I don't know where the translation comes from, so don't even ask me that piece right there. But if you look in the concordance and you look up the mind of the Creator is the breath that we breathe, is the mind of the Creator.
Yep, it's the mind.
All right, then. Okay, so I'm going to give my take in just a little bit. Let me bring on 313. 313, your line is open.
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you, beloved.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. I wanted to add a little something on that. You were correct in all of the authors that you had cited that have been on Oprah shows that were metaphysical authors and teachers. Most of them seem to be pretty consistent in that the soul and the spirit were two different things, and that you correctly discerned that the one that was not in harmony with the rest of them was the one by Devon Franklin, and that is because you said, I bet he's a minister. You're absolutely right.
Okay,
yes.
Yeah, that screamed of minister.
Yes, because he had a more traditional understanding of it, and not really a clear understanding of it.
Right.
Devon Franklin used to be a producer on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and he has gone on to the ministry. He's also married to the actress Megan Good. So that's who that is.
Okay, now I know who that is. Okay.
But nice, clean-cut-looking young brother. You know, he produces and does other things, but he's very devout in his faith, but very traditional, you know, less metaphysical meaning. Now, the way that I have been taught is that spirit, the word spirit, comes from spiritus, which is Latin. Okay.
Yep. Church.
It means breath, like what Brother Wendell said. Breath. Okay. It is the animating force within. It is what gives you life. That's why when you look at a dead body, you no longer see that animating force because that breath is gone. It has departed from the body. So that's what spirit is, and that is why, it is confined to the one life. But soul, your soul is eternal. Your soul inhabits many different bodies throughout all of eternity. You will incarnate and reincarnate again, and you carry with you like your own personal Akashic record, that is your soul essence, and so that you may incarnate and reincarnate many, many, many times, but that is you. That is the eternal you, your soul. But it is distinctly different from spirit, and a lot of writings do get the two confused, but hopefully that helps to clarify it somewhat, because my teachers, they finally got it through my head.
So, I mean, if I could chime in, because, my take on spirit, I think it closely was saying what you and Brother Wendell was saying, and I get what Sis is saying, but I looked at spirit as like the glue to the physical vessel or body.
Mm-hmm.
So I like how you all put it in that light of the breath per se. But the soul, to me, that's infinite. That ties you directly to the creator of all, the all in all. Okay. Yes. So that is why, which is out of darkness, right? Everywhere. To me, the soul is that pure energy tied directly to the creator. The spirit ties you to a physical body. And that's why I feel everything living and breathing has a spirit, but not everything has a soul.
True. I could maybe go for that, yeah. But those clones, I don't know what they got,
I don't think they have either. I don't think they have a spirit or a soul.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're just there. That's something totally different. I don't think they have a spirit or a soul, because we're going to also get into, one of the videos from that Brother Young Pharaoh had put out there. He did a damn good job on how one can become detached. Their soul can become detached. So we're going to get into that as well. So, okay. That's I love all of the definitions of spirit and soul, but we're all in agreement that it is clearly a separation. It's not the same thing.
Right.
Okay, cool. All right, then, sis. Okay.
Hey, I want to make a comment about them clones.
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
The clones are empty. That's why they have that far out look.
I mean, far than the mud and spaced out, all of that.
Yeah.
And they don't look like they have life in them. They look plastic. That's why I don't think they have a spirit. We know they don't have a soul, but I don't even think a spirit is there. Now, a spirit may jump into them for whatever reason, but I don't think that they have a spirit or a soul.
They're totally void.
Right. Yeah. Totally void. Totally agree. Totally agree. All right, then, sis.
All right. Have a good one.
Okay,
And I'm
sis.
looking
Peace and
forward
love.
to all the rest of this. Peace and love.
Okay. Okay, peace and love. Okay, we're going to go with 404.
Greetings, family. How are you?
Oh, hey, greetings, beloved. How are you?
Oh, I'm just fine. I'm just wonderful. I have the question that I have, and it kind of rang my bell when you were talking about Oprah Winfrey, and I remember when she was promoting a particular book, I think the author's name was Eckhart Tolle, if I'm correct.
Mhm.
And in his book, he was talking about spirit body. He combined both words together. And he said when people are going through or when you come in contact with another person, you are experiencing an event with them through a spirit body. And if I was thinking as far as spirit, if spirit is breath, then body will have to be the physical manifestation of what your mind is conceiving of what is entering into at the time something or an event occurs.
Now that's deep. Say that again. That was deep.
Okay. In his book, Eckhart Tolle, he talks about spirit body. And when I think about the spirit part, which is the breath, the air, which is part of when we talk about the Creator, Yah Allah, then that breath would be part of the spirit part, okay, the air part, which is breath. And then when we talk about body, I think of that or I see that self as the physical manifestation of the spirit entering the body, and that's how we connect. When we say we have that energy, when we connect with certain energy, whether we feel a positive energy or vibration with another person or whether it's negative. That's how I understand it to be.
Okay, so what brought to mind, and that's deep when you said that, I love that manifestation into the physical. What created the spirit?
Well, if breath was put into us, I'm seeing breath and spirit to be one and the same, but then it manifests into a physical being of a body.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know if it makes sense of what I'm saying, but that's how I...
You make perfect sense, and I just so absolutely love that because it makes a lot of sense. But I'm kind of being a little sneaky here per se, because what I'm trying to get at is that something created the spirit, the breath. So would it not be that same force that is the soul?
Most likely it would be, or maybe the spirit coming together with the soul to create the body.
So
because if our soul is infinite, if our soul is infinite, spirit infinite as well?
I don't think so. I think the spirit is based on whatever realm. Now, this is just Rhonda's 2 cents now. Of course, you take a sermon and everybody has their own definition of it. I think the spirit is based on whatever realm you're in, and it connects you to the physical body. But the soul is the one that does the manifestation. So in other words, my soul is what it is, right? But I can manifest because I am a part of the all in all, the creator of all. So I can manifest a spirit in this particular realm that connects to a body, or maybe the spirit doesn't connect to a body. I can manifest a spirit in another realm. So now that's just my little 2 cents on it.
Okay.
Can I say something about that? Can I say something about that spirit body?
Absolutely.
This is the other question that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when we talk about clones, because I heard you mention something about clones, if they are operating in what we call, they have no soul, but they're operating in a spirit sense, why do they need a handler? And what is that handler's responsibility or job to allow the clone to perform as its original being?
I don't think it has, the clones have a spirit. So to me, the function of the quote handler is to watch out for malfunction. So there's different parts for the clones. I truly feel are devoid of spirit and soul. Now, if you're MK Ultra and you have that handler next to you, that is trying to control the spirit and the soul. So that's two different things, if that makes sense.
I'm kind of understanding what you're saying.
Oh, okay. Let me make a point that might. Let me make a point and give you an analogy that might make it real simple. A clone is just like hardware in a computer. It's just there. It don't mean a hill of beans until you put that software in there. In other words, when you put the instructions in there and tell it what to do, it ain't gonna do nothing. Now, an analogy for the spirit body and the soul. Think of the physical body as a spaceship. That spirit has to have a cockpit. In other words, that spirit has to have a seat to sit in to operate that body.
Right. I got where you're going.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same concept, but on another level, because that spirit, which is in that physical body, has to have a cockpit to sit in to make that thing operate on a consistent basis.
So then the spirit is infinite and the soul only manifests when the spirit becomes part of or allows their body to manifest?
That's what I'm thinking I'm saying. All right, let me give you another example. All right, I don't know if you saw this video where they supposedly found this spaceship that had crashed on the moon, and there was a melanated body in there, and the body had these apparatuses on this person's face that were connected to her eyes and to her forehead, I believe it was. And what they were claiming is this is how she operated that ship.
Mm-hmm.
Take that concept and apply that to the body, the spirit, and the soul. Same concept.
Well, when we have out-of-body experiences, is that our spirit entering into our body? And when we are having that experience where we go out of body, that spirit is leaving our body and
the spirit leaves the body
itself?
Yep, I totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally agree.
The spirit leaves the body. The spirit leaves the throne at that point. You understand what I'm saying? And observes what's going on.
Yep, I agree with you. I agree.
Thank you, family. I yield.
Okay, thank you, sis. Thank you. Okay, sis, Sandra, I'm going to bring you back in. The static is coming from your line, so if you have us on speaker, you have to take us off speaker, because if you have on speaker, we'll get that static. So I'm going to open you back up, and if not, you may have to just hang up and call back in, but the static is coming from your line. Or the echo rather.
Oh, you hear echo when I talk?
Well, yeah. With even just having your line open, because I just muted it and the echo stopped, and now it's back. So it's in your line. So if you have us on speaker, you have to take us off speaker phone. If not, hang up and call back in. You have a bad connection.
Oh, okay, because I was muted that whole time, so I was just wondering if you were hearing an echo. It wasn't me, because I was always muted. I muted myself.
Yeah, no, it's your line, because I just muted you and the echo stopped and then it came back. It's back now, so it's in your line.
Okay, so I'll have to hang up because I'm regular phone right now.
Okay, yeah, just hang up and call back. It's just a bad connection. Okay, sis. Okay. All right, I'm going to bring in 470. I think this is Brother Sean. Here we go. Oh, yeah, that's sis. Ooh, her line was cutting up. Okay, Brother Sean, is that you?
Yes, greetings, beloved.
Greetings, how are you?
I'm well. Greetings, Brother Wendell.
Uh-oh.
Greetings, my brother.
Oh, okay, I thought I lost him.
Greetings.
Okay, brother, so I know you was in the cut listening, so I got to put the little questions to you before we move forward. So what's your definition of spirit and soul?
My definition of spirit is it's a spark that operates this physical body. As you stated, everything that's moving has a spirit.
Mm-hmm.
The soul is that connection to the all. It's that ether being. It's that access to the Akashic records. Beings who don't have that can't access the Akashic records because they can't leave this plane.
Mm-hmm. So
you need that soul to make it to the higher dimensions.
Mm-hmm. So would you say, brother? Okay, sis, you back, and I hear no static, so you good. It was just a bad connection for whatever reason. So would you say, Brother Sean, that the spirit do you think the spirit can make it to the higher ethers, or
no?
Okay, so you're saying that only the soul can make it to the higher ethers.
Yeah, they separate.
Yep, I would agree. Okay, I would agree. We're in agreement. We're in agreement with that. Okay. Very, very interesting. Okay, so with that said, I'm sorry. Go ahead on, brother.
In other words, what you're saying in the analogy I gave a couple of minutes ago is the spirit can't go too far from that cockpit. That's the driver's seat. You got to have that driver's seat to go where it's going. They may have to separate for a moment, but they have to meet up for it to continue.
Exactly. Are we in agreement, Brother Wendell?
And it's interesting, Brother Wendell, that you said that they have to connect, because when we talked about astral travel, and I'm going to try to upload that video with that brother too, Brother Young Pharaoh, once I play another video. But anyhow, when we talk about astral travel, and those that have studied it and experienced it, when you're aware of what you're doing, you feel that spirit leave the body, and you feel yourself floating, and you can even look, and it's almost like an out of body experience, kind of like what Sis described when she was on the operating table, and you could look back and see your physical body laying there. But the point I'm trying to make is that in addition to that, it is said that there is a connection between that soul. I'm sorry, not the soul, the spirit leaving the body. There is a cord that connects that spirit to that body. Okay? So when you astral travel, there is that cord And that's how your spirit finds its way back to the body, because that's that connection cord. Now, some of us that astro travel, sometimes, you'll be jerked back into your body, and that's especially when you first starting to experience it or whatever. But you'll see that spark that you mentioned, Brother Sean, and Sis mentioned. I mean, you literally see that spark of light. I mean, real quick, not even a second. And when you astral travel, I know I have experienced where you even see the actual tunnel. But that's very, very interesting, how Brother Wendell said it is that connection. And he just reminded me that it is said when you astral travel, meaning the spirit leaving the body, that there's literally this cord attached to the body and the spirit.
Umbilical cord.
Yeah, like an umbilical cord. Yes.
And to make that real easy to visualize, a hook and a reel. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
On a fishing pole, you got your reel, but you got that hook on the end that's attached to it. But they still work together. They're still one unit, but you got two different pieces.
So the reel is the rod is the body,
right?
And then the what you call it? What's the reel?
The reel. It's the reel. The test line that's on the reel. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
See the reel is the soul. The test line is that cord, and the hook is the spirit.
Damn, that's a good analogy. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So the soul is driving it all, right?
I'm telling you, it's the seat. It's the cockpit.
Seat. Exactly.
That's the throne.
Damn, that was a good analogy.
That's the throne for the spirit.
Yes. Very, very good analogy. So for the women, I had to think about the reel, and I had to get the little visual in my mind. The damn fishing pole. That's the windy thing. That's what the reel is.
That's the part that you use to drag the fish in.
Right. I just had to break it down for my sisters, because I had to think, I'm like, what the thing is called? So yes, so that's the reel. The reel is the soul. The rod is the body, and the string or the line is that umbilical cord, and the hook is the spirit. Damn, that's tight, Brother Wendell. That's tight. Very, very good analogy. Okay, I'm going to bring on 270. Let me go here. Here we go. 270, your line is open. Uh-oh, maybe you didn't want to get in the queue. 270. Okay. All right, 270, I'm going to put you back on mute. Or maybe they wanted to. Let me try again, 270. I apologize. There you go. It just didn't kick over. I apologize. 270, are you there?
Okay. Yes, I am. This is Darlene from Kentucky.
Greetings, sis.
Hello. I've been told, and I love this discussion, that the spirit can only live on two different realms, or on a couple realms, like this realm and another realm, but the soul lives forever. It never dies. Like, I guess when people get reincarnated, the soul can live on any dimension. But I don't know if that's true or not, but they just said the spirit can only live on two different realms, like this realm, and when you die, you go to wherever you go. I guess you can live on another realm. Because they say when people cross over after they die, their spirit can still linger on this earth, on this planet, but their spirit can be in the other dimension also. But the soul lives forever. That's how I've been explained it that way. But I like
that's a very good point. That's a very good point, because what you just described would be like the spirit that lingers after somebody died here in this plane would be like a ghost, right?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so that's the definition of the ghost. So the spirit would basically are here. It never left this realm. So the cord broke, and that particular spirit, and that's when they say it got stuck. You hear Grandma and them say, or some of our grandma and them that was tapped into that particular spirit got stuck, or it's stuck. It's lingering around in this particular dimension for whatever reason. But I guess I totally agree with that. I would love if anybody else heard the concept of the soul is able to manifest various spirits in other realms. But very good point, sis. Thank you for that. So you're welcome. Brought the definition of what ghosts really are, just lingering spirits.
Yeah, go back to your fishing pole. Let's say you're out there fishing.
Yeah. Okay.
And your line breaks. That hook goes with the fish. That's your wandering spirit. But that cockpit or that reel is still there and can go anywhere it needs to go from that point without that spirit.
Yeah, and that's the soul. That's the real. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes absolutely sense. That makes sense. Okay. Very good input, sis. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I'm going to keep myself back on mute.
Okay, peace and love.
Okay. Peace and love.
Okay. All right, this thing is, there we go. Had a little delay there. Okay. Very good discussion, family. So what I wanted to get into Brother Bobby Hemmett has he put a badass video out. All his videos are bad. So I miss that brother on the dropping that knowledge. But he certainly left a great body of work. I've learned so much from him, and I continue to learn from him. But this particular video that I am about to play, it is I don't know whose YouTube channel I pulled this off of, but it's Bobby Hemmett, Charlatans, Primal, and Unworthy of the Gods in Existence. So I kind of chopped this up. Now, he finna blow your wig back. Anybody that gets it to Bobby Hemmett, no, he'll bring some shit for you. So in this particular video, he starts talking about the whole concept of ascension, about going to the underworld, and astral travel. Now, I don't know how old this video is. It looked like it's from the 90s. This is one that I had never listened to. I had never damn heard this concept until I started doing research for this show. So let me pull that video of Brother Hemmett. Okay. Now, this one is kind of long, family. It's about 21 minutes, but it's well worth it. We're going to play this, come back, and chop it up.
I used to be a student of C. Freeman L. as far as meditation student. My other knowledge is basically doing my research, but his knowledge is based on by the way of the meditation, and basically he was trained through the Yogananda or the yogi system, not just necessarily Yogananda, but all of the whole yogi system. But I saw the whole yogi thing as a form of contradiction, because I said, well, why is it that they fucking around with all these white people? You see what I'm saying? Also, I realized also, too, we got all these hundreds of people meditating in so-called Tibetans and the yogi people, and I say, well, hell, but all these people so-called meditating, and meditating is supposed to be the thing to turn the world around, and you got damn people in Tibet, and I'm talking about black people, it's been meditating for 40, 50 years, and ain't shit happening. Right. What the hell going on here? Then I'm like, what the hell going on here? In Bangladesh is one of the poorest places on the planet. Yet they're supposed to have all this. And then I realized that in actuality, there was a separation from the ancient Vedic system, which is the untouchables of the pre-Aryan, or what we would say, because the original Aryans are black too, don't let nobody fool you, but the pre-Indo-Europeans who later on called themselves Aryans when they got in touch with the original Aryans of that thing, which was black people. So the Indo-Europeans came down, merged with the original Aryans and started calling themselves Aryans. So the original Aryans are black people. And over the course of years, this whole thing got muddled as far as the knowledge got dwindled down into basically it's a more advanced religion, but it's a religion in the aspect that they are dealing with another system than the original Vedic people that inhabited that land, and that was your Dravidian people, which goes all the way back to the African thing. You see what I'm saying? The yogis, but the Tibetans, they do all this particular meditation and all this system and all this yogi thing and all, and supposedly they're supposed to be ascended masters. Well, it took me a while to figure this out. If the earth was here in the beginning, what the fuck are you ascending to? See what I'm saying? All this ascension shit, this is all the white new age. Ascension. Well, if this is the command module, if this is the central location of all there is, what the hell are you ascending to? You see? And then you understand why the Egyptians or the Canaanites and pre-cultures of before 2,000 years always talked about going to the underworld. You see what I'm saying? As well as its connection with death. So what we have here is we got two systems, one that was developed later on, and yes, they do ascend, excuse me. And what we're talking about here is this, about the meditation things, and you must be clear on what's going on. They do all this meditation, and like I said, I was a part of all this, but they do all of this, but they miss one thing. You can misdirect the energy within your mindset, and you can go from one path to the other path. And what's happening is this. They are able to break the physical illusion of the earth, which is the physical earth, and they are seeing, and they go on the astral plane, but that particular astral plane is just another series of illusions. Although it might not be physical, it's another series of illusions. So you might have these different dimensions and these planes, but it's only a plane of existence or an illusionary plane. The New Age movement is trying to get everybody to ascend. But the ancient royal art of ancient Kemet, which is alchemy, and the ancient mystery systems of the ancient Mesopotamian, Egyptian, and African world was always talking about a mentor, which is the land of Amen, the hidden god, is the underworld. So you got two different systems that's going on. Y'all getting this? One is a system that was put in place by the so-called divas. The divas, and I'm going to go deeper into some other mythology in a few minutes. And those divas put in place a astral plane. And the astral plane is these different dimensions of the existence of the known universe. But remember, this particular universe has an origin. And by it having an origin, because it wasn't in the beginning, ultimately it is not the ultimate reality. The left-hand path, or the underworld path, or the dark side path, is a different system, which is talking about the overthrow of the whole entire universe to the original inhabitants, which in actuality, in a course of being shut down so long, it becomes new. So that's the New Jerusalem. The other universe has its own existence of different astral planes, but they were only in a certain amount of cycles as long as this universe lasted, a couple of billion years. That's over with now. So the New Age is telling all this ascension shit because they're still trying to find a way out. And there's no way out for the people that was not created outside of this universe. You see. So they only are comprised within this particular universe. Now, for the simple fact that you can go above the physical realm into the other dimensions, it doesn't mean that those other dimensions are higher, because it's not about ascension, it's about getting to the original core of what existed before this particular known universe came into being. In this particular case, it was the earth. And later on called a mentor, or Gaia, or torturous, which means hell. So the key is not to go up the astral plane to other illusions. And although you might not be in the physical realm, so basically in so many words, these yogi masters are supposed to ascend it. They just go up on these other planes, and they might just be a part, and they say they have Christ consciousness, cosmic consciousness. Basically, all they do is they are basically outside of the physical realm, and they have another form of consciousness that's outside of the physical realm, but nevertheless is still a form of illusion. So they are still trapped in this particular realm, and they have done nothing of the sort based on the Christ consciousness. Now, the word Christ, because Christ consciousness is different. The word Christos is not a consciousness at all. The word Christos is when something crystallizes, it means you take something that's not existing like the existing universe. It is something that is crystallized and has made something totally new. And the only way you can crystallize anything is it has to be condensed and shut down into the most hideous form or the most gross elements. Any way we put it, when they say Satan was bound, then Satan has the only potential to be Christ. You see? Now let me break this down based on scientific. It's no different than oil. Carbon is trapped under the earth for thousands and maybe millions of years. It crystallizes into a diamond. You know what I'm saying? That's the alchemical process that the Egyptians found out, that it wasn't about the heaven realm, it was about the hell realm. And because we were bound down here in a physical body and being governed over by a bunch of lesser entities, we possess the most power, because it was only the overthrow of the prior world that existed before this that became bound down into this particular realm. And that, my friend, is what Lilith is talking about. The Lilith thing is, Lilith was the great mother that refused to be a part of the new existence with Adam and rebelled against it and went back to her primal station. You see what I'm saying? They sent 3 people after her. The sister was talking about it first. They didn't have the power to overthrow Lilith, because Lilith is higher than God. Lilith is the great mother. The God is just an abortion of a son that broke away and created this particular universe and is masquerading as the Lord and Master. Lilith, on the other hand, is the most primal essence of the great mother, and later on known as evil. That's why I say you must become evil. Eve, which is beginning, El, which is star. primal star or primal planet, which is the Earth, in its primal essence. You see what I'm saying? You get where I'm coming from here? The New Age is talking about all this ascension shit. That ain't nothing but white people trying to get off the planet. And all those, because what happened is, in 1956, a group of white people ascended. And at first I couldn't understand, how can white people ascend? But then again, when I understood the real concept, they didn't do nothing but go on the astral planes, and really, ascension is not the highest thing. You see what I'm saying? They're not ascending at all if the home base that was the original planet of origin was the Earth in the first place. That means that they're going deeper out into inferiority. Illusion. Maya. Although it's not physical, it's still a form of the same jailhouse.
Even worse, though.
Yeah, it's even worse because most of the people that ascend still think that it is reality. Now, in the Rig Veda text, which is the oldest text in India, it also says that this illusion is created by God. Existence, which is a plane of existence, but it was all illusionary phenomena. So man's enlightenment, you are enlightened when you find out that this shit ain't real. They say the matrix is not real. What is the matrix? The matrix is what? Pull over your eyes. A world pull over your eyes to blind you from the truth. And what? You are slaves to it. So this king became enlightened. When he became enlightened, he found out that the kingdom that he was governing over wasn't real. It didn't exist. So he couldn't handle it, and he went crazy. Everybody was telling him in the kingdom, why don't you act like a king and govern like a king? So his father found out about it and went and sent for a spiritual sage, which is a master or a teacher. And the sage came and told him, I understand why you're going crazy. And I understand that you're saying, how am I going to be able to face with the task of governing a people and a kingdom that does not exist? The sage had this advice for him because he understood that the illusionary realm was going to take another couple of thousand years before it peters out. Maybe a million. I don't know how old the story is. He said, go back and govern the kingdom anyway. But the king said, how am I to govern a kingdom that does not exist? He said, remember, you got one up over the other kings. You will govern the kingdom as it exists, but you got one up over the other kings because you got that one reality that they don't know. They don't know that what they're governing is not real. You see what I'm saying? You do. So therefore, if something goes wrong, you have the ace in the hole to understand, oh, it ain't real no way. And you can handle it better. Whereas the other ones will go crazy thinking that somehow their being and their particular manhood or womanhood is based on the kingdom is being messed up, the kingdom is messed up. It's going out? Oh. The kingdom is messed up. You understand what I'm saying? So in so many words, it's also a story that talks to us. All the fucked up shit we going through it doesn't exist in the first place. So once you understand that and enlightened in it and is enlightened by that, you understand also that that's your way out. You see what I'm saying? Going back to this thing, that's what the woman Joanna Goin in the movie Eden found out. That number one, although she thought that, we are going to ascend to this particular universe, since she didn't exist no way, because only thing she is a bunch of energy, but she does not have the Christos melanin compound, which is the pre-Adamite substance that existed before this illusionary universe came into being, ultimately, she couldn't do nothing but come a form of the same fabric of the same universe. And so her own consciousness was only on the physical realm. That also has something to do with the gods that created this, because they are an abortion and they do not possess that particular energy that is in the outer. Ultimately, they can only live through the minds of the people that believe that they do exist. So once you stop believing that God exists and believe that you are the original being that was fooled into thinking that this particular person up here exists and his angels, you understand, he disappears. But we don't have to worry about all the people following religion and TD Jakes. The only thing we got to worry about is the people in this room are a little bit of people in consciousness. And go by the same principle to worship a God other than yourself is to worship a God inferior to yourself. And that's why the Africans used to worship the ancestors, because they understood that the ancestors represented that aspect of the people who, if they were down here in a physical body, that means that they came from the realm before creation. And that was the only thing that was real. So ain't no sense of fucking with them gods up there. Deal with their ancestors. Even when it came to their African gods, they always used to say that they were once human like we were. Because I often wonder, how could a man worship another human? Then again, you don't understand what humans are. Humans are the one true gods of the prior universe, since our world is built on universes that existed before it. This world is built on a composite of universes that existed before it. And those composites of universes, those elements is inside of our bodies, is those particular prior universes condensed, and they call it condensed chaos. You get where I'm coming from here? Now, this means that the only thing that is the essence of those worlds prior to this particular universe, they don't exist nowhere else in the universe and not on those particular gods, because they were created outside of that, like an abortion, like a spook. As they say, they are a shade or an angle of light. Angels means angle of light, but not the real true essence of the light. So how did they get their light? They first came into existence because the other realm, they were able, this particular little small intelligence was able to steal a portion of the light from the pre-existence, or as the Rebbeinu calls it, the uncreate. And the uncreate is the fullness of everything. From the nothing you get the absolute. And they were able to steal a part of the light from the uncreate and go off and make this alternative universe that you call the universe. But meanwhile, because we fell, the original aspect that they had to topple to make that universe, in its fall, it ended up getting back that particular light that they created, and they were left with nothing but being a shade or a shadow or an image that's not even real, but only exists in the mind of you. You getting this? You see. That's why the God of the Bible say, I am the God of the living, not the dead. Well, if you're the one true God, why aren't you the God of the dead? After all, we all have to die, and death is inevitable. It is the only thing that is certain. And he is not the God of certainty. He's only the God of the living, and not the dead. That's what the God of the Bible. That means he only comes into play doing only creation. In the beginning, there was death. Remember I said the Upanishad said? And that's why Osiris is the God of the dead. And that's why in the Torah, the angel of death is Satan, the one true God. You get it? Same angel of death is this name Satan. A Dracula is Osiris in Egypt. Two damn realms. One is a holographic realm that supports light, and an angel, it is a false light. The other one is the one true light, the dark side. And the universe was divided and separated between day and night. Now you got to understand where you fall. You got two aspects. The divas are those particular realms, that's that angle of light that stole a little bit of light, but as you know, any type of light, hell, it might be dead before you even know that it's burned out. It might take 1 billion years for you to even know that that light has been dead. And it only survives in your mind because you perceive it to be real. Get where I'm coming from? Those are called the divas, or the diva-shanic plane, and that's the astral plane. The other ones are created at night. That's the night breed. It's a movie called Night Breed, Clive Barker. We are the night breed, the nocturnal beings, because melanin is a night hormone, because it is that death hormone.
Okay, family. So that was from one of Bobby Hemmett's videos. I'm sorry I don't have the YouTube channel, but it's called Charlatans, Primordial, and the Unworthiness of the Gods and Existence. Before I go in, I'll start with Brother Wendell. Did you want to put something on it?
Yeah, I saw that thing now a long time ago.
Yeah, I think it was the 90s he put that out. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Bobby Hemmett be putting it down, I'm telling you now.
He ain't no joke. He's really no joke. Indeed. Sis Sandra, you have something you want to put on it?
Well, I was, as he was talking in the beginning, I was thinking about that movie, The Gods of Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
And
the new crappy
how
one that came out.
I'm sorry?
The new crappy one that came out.
Yeah, but I was looking at that one though, where they all killed his daddy and everybody, and they ascended. The more they ascended, the worse it got up there. But the part they were really talking about is the one where the girl had to have some gold to go through the halls of Amenti, and she had to have the price to get through the darkness, and gold was the only price that she could use to get through. So that's what first came to my mind. But then when I think about the ascension part, and there's a lot of people talking about we're going to be ascending and ascending and ascending and ascending, I think about a lot of dreams I've had over the years that when people ascend, they're going into punishment. I've seen it many times, and when I'm listening to that, I never heard that one before, and that came to my mind that that's the dimensions that people go to, the ascension part, into the light or the darkness or wherever they go, because of the punishment that they have to take for what they did here. So I kind of have to scratch my head. I'm like, okay, so light is bad, and darkness is good. That's kind of like the reverse of what we've been thinking.
What we've been taught, right? And what we've been taught.
So I'm thinking, hey, this is an idea here, because after the girl got through the halls of Menti with the gold, she came back up to the trouble, which is this earth. She didn't. Nobody was molesting her or dealing with her, and when she was walking through the halls. But when she got through with the gold, which is a product of this earth, then she came back up to this mess again. So that's when she got her life back, and so on and so forth. So, I mean, there's a lot of things going through my mind, and I'm trying to assimilate that here, saying that, because they say we're the fallen ones, we came down, fallen, in the word fallen, is that really fallen? or did we come up, to this plane?
I see what you're saying, from the underworld.
Yeah. And so they flipped the switch on us to say that the lower half is the bad part and the upper half is the good part. Because, they have to explain their being on this plane. And that we're going to ascend more into paradise. But they're probably going to ascend, like he says, to the bad parts and not the good parts. But that's, I'm trying to understand, the flip of where we are, because it's hard to kind of get your mind around it. But that's what I got.
Okay,
it is very deep what he said.
Yeah, it's deep. It kind of stopped me in my tracks. I'm like, he said, what? So I'm going to let
That's what I'm looking like, what?
Yeah, I said, what? I'm like, damn, how did I miss this particular? But when it wasn't time for me to hear it. Now was the time for me to run across this, to dissect it in a different way. So very, very interesting. So before I
want to ask one more question.
Sure.
Is he still with us?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I know at one point he was recovering from the stroke, but he's definitely still with us. You can go out on YouTube and look at his last video that he put out, just kind of giving the progress of his progress. But that one is a couple of years old. But yeah, he's definitely still around. He just doesn't teach on the circuit anymore.
Oh, okay. That was what I was wondering. Thank you. I'm out.
Okay. Okay, sis. All right, Brother Sean. So what's your thoughts on our beloved Brother Hammond? We miss you, Bobby. We love you, but damn, you put it down on that one back in the 90s. Okay, Brother Sean, what's your thoughts?
I mean, if you think about it, everything they've taught us is in reverse. Even the language is in reverse.
True.
We pick and choose what we want to accept. And we have to realize that everything is in reverse.
Right.
Not bits and pieces, everything. So, I mean, east is west, north is south. Everything they told us is in reverse. Just like he said as far as the divine feminine being depicted as evil.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, think about it. That's part of the first fall. When we left the matriarchal system.
Mm-hmm.
The male wanted all the credit. That's why in the Bible he say, "Thou shalt have no other gods before me." He wanted all the credit. He wanted all the praise. He wanted all your energy.
Mm-hmm.
So that he can keep that melanated woman subdued.
Woo. Okay, that was heavy. Okay, so
Hey,
go ahead on, brother. Go ahead on, Brother Wendell.
In that movie Arrival,
mm-hmm.
That's exactly what you was looking at when they went up into that spaceship. Everything was reversed. Everything was in reverse.
Okay, that's what it was. Because you seen the movie, so yeah. Because once they got up there, they kind of turned a certain way. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah.
But you're right, it was in reverse.
Because they were freaking out because they were walking on the reverse of what they thought they should be walking on.
It sure was. It was in reverse. Now that you say it, you're absolutely right. It was reverse.
I gotta get some food. I don't have any eggs in it.
You're absolutely right. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So I guess my whole take on it, I was blown away just by the fact of what he described, what folks are running around talking about, what ascension really is. And I never, ever, I'm not going to lie, that blew me away, because he's putting ascension in the concept of that is folks that are bound to this realm that can't get out. And this realm also includes those astral projection planes. Okay? So when folks started, quote, quote, astral traveling, and we had just talked about astral travel, that's what we are doing. We are, the spirits are going to these other realms, but it's still within our realm. Now, that's the part that effed me up. Okay? That's the part that effed me up, I ain't gonna lie. But then when he broke it down, what really made the shit just straight make sense to me, when he said because those astral planes that the yogi masters, all that, etc., are traveling to, that was really the spirit world before we came into the physical. So it made total sense to me. So those that are, quote, the old souls, now hopefully we are entering understanding what that term really means. Old souls, meaning you existed always before the concept in this realm of time. You existed before this realm. Okay, so you even heard Brother Hemmett say that this realm has a quote, quote, time stamp on it. So if you are that soul connected to the all in all of the ether, of the melanin, then you predate this particular realm, this particular universe. So, it is said that before this physical realm was created, we came into this realm, but it was all the spirit, okay, the spirit world. So equate that spirit world as what we're now calling the astral travel world. Same thing. We existed on that plane. And now what we don't know, we can only speculate. That's when Brother Bobby say the fall happened, that we fell into the physical realm. So first of all, the physical realm had to be created. So some say that the old souls wanted to experience the lower level realm, which is the physical realm. So the old souls came from out of the spirit realm, which they had created a spirit to kick it in that realm, and created the physical realm, and then that's when the fail, quote, quote, happened, because we came into the bodies, the physical bodies. So the spirit came into the physical body, and the soul anchored there, or even part of the soul anchored there, because I believe the soul can exist everywhere. And that's what part of the fall is, because the laws, the universe laws of the physical, you have limitations in this physical body. Just like when you go to the spirit realm, now the shit makes so much sense to me, because that's only meaning you going to the spiritual world. There's even universal laws there. Okay, so there's even a certain amount of limitations and rules per se, but it's a lot more you can do there versus in the physical. But the true power is what he's trying to get you to see. The true power, when you are a soul, when you are connected to the all in all, is in the darkness with the creator of all, in the chaos. That's what he was trying to get you to see, to enter and understand those different levels. So I'll yield in case somebody wants to put something on it. If you want to join the conversation, press 1 to get in the queue. If not, we are going to move on. But yeah, that was go ahead, brother.
Well, it said there was darkness first, and then there was light.
Absolutely.
It's right there.
Absolutely. And I'm sorry, go ahead, brother.
The spirit realm, I guess that would be demigods or demiurges.
Exactly. Those angles of light, which translated to angels of light. And that's another reason I believe, when they say you die, and we've already talked about that concept, when you die, meaning this physical body dies, and we talked about how that spirit is attached to that cord. Let's think about the fishing rod. So the spirit leaves the rod and detaches from the cord, which is the line. It was said, and I can't remember who said this, it could have been Bobby Hemmett, that those that kept going to the light kept reincarnating back in. And it would make sense. It would make sense. So meaning your body would physically die, detach from the cord. And I like the way the sis brought it in. Some spirits, for whatever reason, they get stuck in the physical realm. So that's the concept of ghost. Or the other spirits start ascending into the spirit world, sees the light, and then winds up reincarnated back into the physical, taking on another body. Whereas an old soul that has, mastered what they needed to in this realm, or just simply tired of the bullshit, whatever the case may be, just goes back to the darkness. So in other words, now damn all this light stuff, I'm going back to the underworld. So I'm going back to the source. I'm going back to chaos or whatever.
Exactly. Because chaos energy is what created everything. Everything.
Because even those angles or angels of light came from that darkness, not the other way around. So when I heard that whole concept of when you pass away to go to the light, and I'm almost sure it was Bobby Hemmett said, damn all that, unless you want to come back and reincarnate. Don't go to the light, you go to the darkness, because that's where the true power is. And the other thing that I liked what he said was that particular spirit realm, or the astral projection plane, because you'll hear folk talk about it that way too, that's still all an illusion.
Yeah.
Because it was created. It's still all an illusion. So it's really just folk keep coming out of the physical, going to the spiritual, astral plane, reincarnating back, doing the shit over again, until they recognize what the soul truly is. And then when you tired, you say, all right, I'm up. Peace out. And you go back to the darkness. But the catch is what he's saying, if you are not the original soul because you can only be a soul if you're original. You can't get past that astral plane. So for some people, ascension truly is ascending and just chilling up in that spiritual realm. If that makes sense.
It's just another program, a program within a program.
A program within a program.
And you have to have the proper codes to send up to it.
You have to have the proper code / frequency, but you're still not those particular people that can't get past that spirit realm. You're not the programmer. That's separate. Those that are able to go back to the underworld, darkness, the creator of all, those are the programmers.
Isn't there some theory in, I think at 70 degrees in the near Orion, there's a gate that the souls wait to come? I think, Wendell, you may remember this, that the souls wait to come down. It's a Moorish doctrine, that they wait. It opens for ascension and descension, where the souls are waiting to come back. And it's up near Orion. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's up to reincarnate, just like you're saying, Rhonda.
Right. So right in that spirit, that spirit realm. So those constellations and all of that jazz. And even, Bobby Hemmett was saying that the stars are the souls. So just sitting there chilling, waiting. And some of us, I truly believe, choose to keep coming back. Some don't have a choice. When I say coming back, I mean reincarnating. I believe when you choose to come back, that's incarnating. And when you just don't know you're coming back, or you haven't gained the proper frequency and knowledge to go back to the oneness, that's a separate story, if that makes sense. So that concept just blew me away with really what the whole meaning of ascension is. I had never heard that before, but it makes perfect sense to me.
I mean, think about it. It all ties into the physical also, because the contracts that we do are soul contracts. People think that they just signing a piece of paper, this, that, or the other. It's a soul contract. There's no such thing as a spirit contract, because the spirit is still part of the program.
Oh, damn. Damn. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
That's why we shouldn't be doing paperwork if we don't understand what the language is. It's all sales. We trapping ourselves. We voluntarily do it.
Damn.
That's why we keep coming back. We volunteer. Every time we sign something and don't understand what we're signing and don't have the proper intent when we signing it, we giving our energy away.
And so those other entities or angles of light that are bound to the spirit world are basically behind the trickery to keep the souls. Exactly. That's where I was going with that. They're doing the trickery to keep folks signing the contracts to basically stay in the system, to feed off the energy. Because like him had said, the old souls are higher than the entities or the angles of light that have deemed themselves God.
Exactly.
So meaning you're not supposed to be worshiping anything outside of yourself. If you say
and
you have a soul, sorry,
and
go
when
ahead,
you make
brother.
it to that spirit, when you make it to that spirit realm, you're vibrating at a high frequency, and only the demigods and demiurges can absorb that type of energy.
Makes total sense. Makes total sense. And so to break that contract, I just had a conversation with someone, it was a couple of weeks ago, and we were just talking about different things, and I said, you know, we are in the age now that you're not supposed to be under any system. I don't give a goddamn if it's going into the Order of Europe, Masons, whatever. Now, that's just my 2 cents. You're not supposed to be under any contract. You're supposed to be going within to get what you need. This is the age of knowing. And in addition to that, when I was talking to this particular person, we got on family, you know, how family, and especially family that really isn't into the spiritual side. They may either be into religion or just may be into some plain old bullshit. Just ain't, you know, just bullshit to just bullshit. Ain't into shit. Just what bullshit is what they into. So the person and I was talking, and I said, you know, I have come to realize that those that are our family in this physical plane, they are the biggest hinderers. And once you get to a certain point and you done with the okie doke, you have to tear up the motherfucking contracts with them.
Right.
Now, I'm not saying cut them off spiritually. I mean, you know, physically. What I'm saying is you have to go within and say, anybody that you think I have a goddamn contract with you in the physical or the spiritual realm, it's null and motherfucking void.
Exactly.
If you want to break the spell to truly be your own sovereign being, because if you still have that contract, then that's whatever's in that fucked up contract, because believe you me, it's fucked up, because it's keeping you bound.
Exactly.
And a lot of times I sat and thought about it with family drama. I'm like, oh, okay. So this was a contract that was made on the spiritual realm, the astral plane, for us to be down here together on the physical. Oh, okay. I'm finna break this motherfucker. It's all good. It's all love, but you do you, I do me. So that's on the family level. That's on the religious level. That's on the political level. Spiritual level. Any of the demigods, God systems, you are supposed to be breaking all that shit. If you are who you say you are, if you're the soul, then you're beyond that astral plane. So meaning, what the hell you need a contract with a demigod on the spiritual plane to worship them when you're beyond them? You're a part of the creator of all. So we're supposed to be in the age of knowing. You're supposed to know what you're signing up for, whose quote, quote, name you're calling on. Be very, very careful on these names that you calling on. You better research that shit. You better research the Allah, the Yahwehs, all of that, the Jesus. You better research that shit. If you calling on these, because why are you calling? First of all, what are they? What is it? And then second of all, why are you calling on it? You're in the age of breaking all of those contracts. If you say you want to ascend, you want to go back to the source, the creator of all, the all in all, that's what you have to do. Now, if you cool, you just want to kick it up in the spiritual world, that's cool too. You do you. But that's the trickery and the fuckery that has been going on. So with that, I'm going to get off my soapbox and go to the next thing. And if you want to join the conversation, family, press 1 to get in the queue. Okay, so the next video we have is I want to play for you all. This was actually from a video YouTube channel called Mr. Skittles. I thought that was kind of interesting. And this actually, what they did was take some snippets from Dr. Blair, Brother Dr. Phil Valentine, and Brother Bobby Hemmett. And so it's going to be a mixture of talking about the soul, talking about the spirit, and talking about vibration. Let me make sure I'm pumping it up. Let me make sure the damn video is up here. Let me make sure. I hate when I do that and then it's not here. What's the name of this video? Okay. Dr. Blair. I don't know what I called it, y'all. I may have to move on to the next one. I'm going to have to go back and keep checking this stuff because it's getting lost. I spent all that time slicing and dicing it, and then I can't find the damn thing. I think it doesn't upload. Yeah, so I'm going to play it. This one is going to be 22 minutes. We're going to go into overtime, so those of you that want to join us in overtime, you need to go to your phone. You got about 18 minutes. The number is 929-477-3858, 929-477-3858. So this particular video is Dr. Blair, Dr. Valentine, Bobby Hemmett, and it's snippets of each one of the teachers speaking on the soul. So here we go.
Then basically what happens is with your soul, when you die, your soul is still in your body. Your spirit leaves. There's a difference between a spirit and a soul. A soul is a whole other dimension that can just basically rest for eons, encased in shit, out there in the bushes or anything like that, until it's trapped in the physical body. It's a whole nother world. It's a whole nother realm. So what happens is when you die, your spirit leaves. Everything down here has a spirit. Not everything has a soul. A soul is a son. That's the difference between white people and us and animals and everything. Everything down here has a spirit. White people are spiritual because they have a spirit, but they don't have a soul. That's the difference. We just automatically think that a spirit and a soul is one and the same, or it all comes together. A soul is a son, a primordial son that existed long before the creation of this particular universe. There was prior worlds, and in order for you to have a soul, you have to exist beyond creation or part of the original star matter or whatever, that particular terrain. Now, the mummification was, it goes like this: if your body dies, your spirit leaves and all of that, and maybe your consciousness of the previous life, but your soul remains in the body until the body is totally decayed. Then it leaves. So the Hindus understood that, and which is also Typhonian Egyptians. So the Typhonian Egyptians, after which is your pre-dynastic Kamite, travel up into Mesopotamia, so-called Babylon, and these are new names and stuff, but basically Northeast Africa on into Indus, Kush, the Indus Valley, into India. They would take it, they understood to release the soul, they would cremate the body immediately. You see, then the soul is released. Because they were dealing with trying to get a soul back down here for an incarnation, the way they would do it. The Egyptians, the Kamites did another thing. If you were worthy enough and you didn't want to come back or whatever, they would mummify the body. And when they mummified the body, because the body didn't rot, the soul would not have to leave, and the soul would stay suspended in its own other dimension. And so that was a way of fooling so you don't come back into incarnation and come back down here walking around here with a bull can in your hand somewhere on some corner. It used to be some pharaoh somewhere, and now you go out there some miniskirt on and stuff. You see what I'm saying? Just ignorant. So they understood that particular part as a form. Incarnation can also be a prison system, where it can take you thousands of years just to get back to incarnate where you got some sense. And in so many words, that's what's happened to our particular conscious people. So to answer your question, it would be highly unlikely. Now, the reason why I say this about the priests, on the other hand, they didn't need the mummification. They knew how to get to the other realms based on their whole spiritual apparatus, their whole spiritual training. You see what I'm saying? Plus also this, some of the higher beings knew, and this is the key, this is why you're here today, the higher beings knew that it was inevitable, that they were going to need to be back on the planet at a certain time. So it was like a time release type of spirit, whereas they would go back into incarnation. And they would bounce around for eons, always popping up as famous people or spiritual people throughout history, but nevertheless waiting for this particular day that we're in right now. So that particular one would return. So in actuality, the most higher beings went through the whole process of incarnation because they understood there was a destiny.
Has two components. Matter has two personalities, a wave and a particle. But when man or when the human brain is not looking at the wave, at matter, at its highest level, it is a waveform. But when human mind, when human thought, when human perception focuses in on that wave, it becomes a particle. So it means that the human consciousness is necessary or is an integral part in how matter coalesces into what we call reality. Are you all with me now? Because I'm getting ready to take off, and if you can't stand the heights, just lay down and go to sleep a little bit. And I'm saying these things because when you understand how deep this is, when you understand the level that the beast is playing on, you now are at the field. You cross from him, football, definitely, one-to-one. And you the quarterback, you the front line, you the running back, you the pass receiver. You're everything. You're taking over the game now because you know how it's being played on you. So they must control the envelope at its present level of self-awareness. Now, how do they structure that awareness? Through your education system, through your television, through your entertainment, through church, definitely through church. They got you in light code lockdown, boy. They really got you believing that some white man came down, laid on a cross, and saved your asses. I was hearing them coming. Man, everywhere in Carolina I went, there was a church on every goddamn corner. On Sunday when I was down there on the lecture, they were driving me there. Wasn't not a near black man or woman on the street. Everybody was in church getting their dose. Everybody was plugging in consciousness intravenously to the words of the preacher man. Sucking it in, just like you saw in the Matrix. They had my boy plugged in everywhere, feeding on him, feeding on his light. Now, in order to maintain the envelope of your awareness, in order to make you believe that this is who you are and this is all you are going to be, they have to dysfunction the blood. They have to dysfunction the blood because it is the blood that is the crystal that takes the light and refracts it, takes it and specializes it, much like a prism does. When you look at white light, you take a prism and you put that prism, which is a crystal, up to that white light, boom, you get 7 different colors, or the perception of 7 different wave bands. That's how consciousness works. It works to diffract what is inherent within the light into what you now see as those 7 colors. Those 7 colors become your awareness. Check? All right, now, stay with me. The light, your blood crystals refract the white light into what you see as consciousness. Now, a little preliminary information. The sun is your Pez dispenser. It dispenses the codes of consciousness in vectors of light. It is the sacrificial sun. What you see as the corona is the crown of thorns. You are essentially taking in light at specific frequencies and valences, refracting them through the temple, which is the crystallization of light. You are crystal light. And I don't mean that damn crystal stuff you just straight up there and drinking. I'm talking about you are crystallized light. And you are diffracting concentrated light into the reality based upon the structure and design of the temple of God. How your blood is constituted says what level of light you can process. Ooh, I see the lights are going on in some of the brothers and sisters. I better get to my blood. Well, that's why they want your blood. That's why you see all these vampire movies coming out. He needs your blood. He needs to find out what's in your blood that's going to keep you around and him not. There you go. Well, we're going to get to DNA. Oh, Miss DNA. Now, there are principles of energy. Listen carefully. Principles of energy, formed energy, powerful principles of energy. Principles of consciousness awareness that exist to create harmony for themselves through havoc to you. Check? It's the order of things. You can't blame them for it. Just like a leopard goes and hunts and kills the lamb, it's the order of things. You have higher evolutionary beings who you believe are supposed to be so sweet and loving and because now I know light. Hey, these motherfuckers know how to get shit done now on a whole other level. They've learned to manipulate light. They've learned to condense it and change it and use it and take it and do what they want to do with it. But by that very act alone, they have created their own ceiling. Because once you start pimping off somebody, once you start using somebody, once you start working off of somebody like these preachers do, like religion does, like government does, once you start pimping people, you have to keep them at that level so that they can remain your food source. So you have higher levels, higher beings that are of the lower order that have to maintain that order through making you their vegetable garden. So your whole consciousness envelope, your whole consciousness environment is being terraformed by these higher light beings who are actually on the lower strata once you get to know them. They look all fly. I mean, you know, they look bad. Somebody see a star walking down the street, you see Wesley Snipes, go Wesley, go Wesley. You say, oh shit, Wesley Snipes, baby. Woo, what's happening? You all up in there, stars in your eyes and shit. That's the same way we would look at them. But they ain't no different than you. They just got up to the tower by doing all kind of shit, making you believe that they're somehow different from you. But they have contained themselves by their actions. And they know that you have the ability to reach light speed. They know you can bypass this illusion that you are now functioning in. They know what your inheritance is, and they are about keeping you from getting it. Your havoc is their harmony. Check? All right. Listen carefully. Ignorance is a food source. Ignorance is a food source. Ignorance causes disturbances because of its random acts of chaos due to the lack of awareness of self. So by your very act, you create disturbances that would not have been there based on your ignorance. So by your acts of ignorance, the dynamics for their sustenance is made ready for them. And you are ignorant as hell. That's plan. Disturbances in the natural, ordered, and harmonic flow of light create peripheral or ambient frequencies from which these principles of consciousness, or these fallen lords, extract and receive their nourishment and sustenance. Let me say that again. Disturbances in the natural, ordered, and harmonic flow of light create peripheral or ambient frequencies from which these principles of consciousness extract or feed and receive their nourishment and sustenance. They are evil only in the sense that they cause us evil by our participation with them. Now, the idea behind evil is a concept based on the acculturation of behavior. What is good, we say this is good because for the mass and for the whole, we benefit. If you do a specific action, if you are participating in certain things and it creates something that's bad, and then we say, okay, that's evil. It's a consensus. Because people who are evil, some of the nicest guys, some of the nicest people, evil as hell. But when you get to know them, they're like, hey, what's up? You know, good, yeah. Evil, evil, evil. But then, if you're looking at that, and you see them channeling that energy, and you get all caught up in, oh, he's evil, get thee behind me, Satan, and all pontification. You don't understand how evil you're becoming by putting up all that bullshit, because you just now saying, I'm going to be the sword of justice for Jesus and all this shit, and you just become just as evil as the bastard you.
With that in turn, everything's beginning to happen. Now, I understand that pragmatic, or they would call reptilians and stuff, who've had it their way for a long time and don't want to let go. With that in turn, everything's beginning to happen. Now, I understand that there are those physicals who supposedly look like us but serve what they would call the devil or serve what they would call the negative forces, who also have been told, do not let this happen. Because the gods that they worship are not the gods that we worship at Easter, and gods that we worship at Christmas, and gods that we work in, called various names again. They worship are like serpent-type creatures. They work with what they call demons, and that's too long a show to go into on that one. But now that their demons are being exercised, just as the movies are trying to show, as we're beginning to see that there is a culture on this planet now that is very evil and should never have been on this planet in the first time, as they're being discovered, they will put anything in their way to stop you from making sense out of the pattern. And of course, now that they're doing it, they're trying to now become gods again like we were by using what they call the CERN particle accelerator, trying to create matter from nothing as though that they were the gods, trying to do everything they can to wrest away the consciousness uprising of people here. So that's what you're getting. And the biggest thing is to remember this. This entire planet is made of layers. And while we think we understand the top layer, which we call the surface, and the oceans, and the land mass, and all this kind of thing, we know very little about the inner layers, which is called the hollow earth, or the interior earth, where many of their so-called demons or gods do dwell, as all the holy books tell you, and all the movies that tell you, which are made by these people who do these studies and stuff. And this is now what we're getting. We're getting now, as we get closer to the point of acceleration, we're getting a quickening. And the quickening means that everything here must now quicken. Those things that can't quicken will be like shuttered, or will be shaken. They'll have to release what they're doing. So this is what we're seeing. That's an overview of something that's mighty big, but most people that are in your chat room, most people that listen to you, most people that understand it, know that what I'm telling is partially true. They may not get the whole picture. I don't know that I've got the whole picture, but I study it voraciously and constantly. We can see now that there's a big change happening, and that something on our surface of our planet is happening. It's being caused by those things inside our air, inside our surface, and also outside. But the point is, it's now being registered in the form of quakes, weather changes, modifications, wars and rumors of wars, everything that you can think of to let this know that this planet is in about the time of a great change.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Now, I'm not a religious person, but last night I took the time out just to go through a few scriptures last night. I was looking at the Bible, and the more and more I kept looking at that thing, the more and more I just kept saying to myself, this thing seems to be a map because it's almost as if they wrote their end time. Does that make sense? They actually wrote and said that this is what's going to happen because we're basically going to be the ones that's going to cause it to happen.
Most of the prophecies are given in the book of Revelations. And unlike what they told you, it was not written by St. John the Revelator. It was written by Apollonius of Tyana on the island of Patmos, a metaphysician and a black man. This is what holds that whole book together, because they took out 196 other books from it, which would make it make more sense, and gave you what they now call the compilation of the Holy Bible, of course, decreed by the Vatican and still used again in Christianity and most of those who come from the Catholic Christianity concept. So once you can understand that, this is why you say there would be wars and rumors of wars, earthquakes in diverse places, flowers will bloom out of season, animals would not bear their young. All these things were in Revelations to let you know at a time when there would be a great change coming upon earth and everything would be revealed. That is happening. And you have, as I say, a whole force that does not want this to happen, that wants to change the force in the consciousness of this planet and wants to definitely keep the originals asleep, dead, dumbed down, comatose, brainwashed, inoculated, vaccinated, and encrypted. And so what you're feeling is a quickening. Doesn't matter what you call the books, doesn't matter what you call religion. It's a matter of consciousness awakening to the true reality that there is a creator and that this planet is about to ascend. So whatever way you interpret it is good, it's not going to change what's going to happen.
Now, for those who, I have a lot of new people that are just now listening to your show that's never heard you speak before. Can you break down who and what the originals are? I think it's about time that there needs to be like some type of explanation about that, because there's still a lot of us.
In order to explain that, then I have to explain what is called physics and forces, but I'll make it very simplistic. A planet under a sun, and not all planets in the cosmos are under suns, but a planet under a sun operates on three potential forces. The first one is the most high. It's one that uses almost pure mind. It's called org. Org produces our words in the English language as original, organic, organism, orgasm, organic. All these kind of things means it comes in a very high vibration, and I say from the mind of universal prime creator. Whether you believe in that or whatever terms you choose to do, let's say the most high, but the creature, thing, or person or place that made this thing operates on that kind of energy. It's from the mind of the creator. It's original. It's organic. And this is why people are trying to eat organic foods and look for the original people and look for org energy. This means it's a very high vibrational rate of energy. The next thing that a planet under the sun can exist on and the medium of is magnetism. That's when we use spirituality. That's why when a person uses magnets and stuff, the brain operates better. The pineal gland has a lot of magnesium and manganese and so in it again to form cells. This means that it's a step down from the original, but it is still a spiritual energy. Things there usually have a more spiritual nature, and they're pretty much easy enough to get along with, but it's a high vibration. The next energy, and probably the lowest energy you can still make and still exist, is electricity. That's what we've been propagating to believe in, that that's the only means of energy around. You got to have fossil fuel, and you got to turn it to a turbine and everything else. And that kind of energy is what they call electrical energy. There will be a lot of brownouts soon because that energy is failing. They not only took, and they being those who are nefarious enough to want to try to run this planet of a low vibration, they then made something lower than electricity. It's called ELF waves, ELF, extra low frequencies. And this is now what almost everything we use operates on. The cell phones, the high-tension power lines, the television sets, the high-def and plasma TVs, the microwave ovens, the radar equipment, the video games, the automobiles, the cars, the trucks, the home wiring, the circuit breaker things. They even now have this iPad that came out, an iPod, these headsets, fluorescent lights. Everything we use is to keep us low because it's the lowest vibration you can use and still stay in any way physical at all. So with that in mind, you can begin to see that the original people or the original creations operated on org. And at the beginning, it was these archangels and it was these creatures or these entities that worked in a very high plane that made this planet. But in the process of making the planet, there's also a big goof was made because they also, well, that gets into another whole story. That is pretty much the definition there. So original people were those that operated on a very high frequency. They were from the mind and the highest force of the Creator. They did not have physical bodies. They had what they call chakra centers or energy wheels, and they were operating on the plane of angels or very high vibrancies. Our planet has gone lower and lower based on, again, an interference caused by people who came from a whole different planetary system, who were very jealous of what was happening here, and because of a big goof that was made, had the idea to come through a portal and could come into this planetary means. It was a big mess that was made. That is not time enough to go into that big.
All right, family.
Basically, what happens is.
Sorry about that. Okay, so, and I see you, 817, I'm coming to you. So that particular video is off of the YouTube channel called Skiddles, Skiddles, and it's new Dr. Dilbert Blair, Phil Valentine, and Bobby Hemmett, 2013. Okay, so, maybe Skiddles is the particular host of one of the shows. I don't know. Anyhow. Okay, so let me bring on 817. Okay, 817, your line is open. 817. Okay. Oh, somebody's baby push. Okay, so whoever is 817, you got your little baby on there. Okay. All right. Before I go in, I'll start with Sis Sandra. Did you have anything you wanted to put on that?
No, not really. We've been controlled, that's for sure. And Dr. Blair, I think I brought this up before, saying that this place is being controlled. The 13th planet people are coming back, which are the dragons or the
Dracons, I think he called them. Mm-hmm.
They're coming back. But only thing I can say about that, there are some already here in high places, and there are leaders, and they've always tried to take over this part of the galaxy. But if we're talking about what's up is bad and what's down is good, that makes sense.
Okay.
Because it makes sense to me. But that's pretty much all I have to say about that.
Okay. So Brother Sean and Brother Wendell, wait a second. I got another caller that came into the queue, so I'm gonna bring them in right quick. 832. 832, your line is open.
Peace and love to my sisters from the other misters and Oracle Wendell and Sean, my brothers from the other mothers.
Listen
Peace
here,
and
listen
love,
here,
beloved.
listen here.
Peace and love.
Yeah. Oh, something.
Well, Wendell, I don't know if you remember, it's been a while back. I guess it was in between your unveiling the Book of Enki and first time that Brother James Dunn came on, which would be, I guess, back in December, on our ability to communicate. And I'm trying to understand the context of all these different perspectives they've put out tonight about what's spirit, what's the soul. But the interesting thing, the last part was that Dr. Delbert Blair was talking about ORG, is that what he's saying? Was the highest level of energy, and then the next level of energy, which I forgot what the term he used, was magnetism, I presume, which would be similar to Tesla and what James Dunn is trying to recreate. And then the final would be electricity, which is what was stolen by Thomas Edison and actually manipulated Lewis Latimer. A lot of African Americans don't know if it wasn't for his filament technology. Isn't that right, Brother Wendell?
That's it.
How many times did they tell us in the legend? 9,000 times, 9,999. It was the 10,000th try that Edison supposedly succeeded. But failed to mention, he got Lewis Latimer from Alexander Graham Bell, who did what I've been told here in Texas was nigger rigging. Okay? These things, because the facts are stubborn things, as Ronald Reagan used to say. So what does that mean but .org? I know I'm trying to throw in a little monkey wrench here, but I was just listening to Dr. Blair
I don't think so.
Org is a higher level. You notice how org always utilized for education and academia, and .com is about the money in the paper, which is what we all spend our time chasing. Well, I think I heard another brother, Sabir, used to say, we used to pick cotton, now we're chasing cotton.
Well, org is that, of course it stands for original, but I also look at it as that's the source, that's the melanin, that's, or ORT. I know you know where I'm going with that, the O-R-T, right?
So you're talking about the Oort cloud and the dark, quote-unquote, dark matter in the universe?
Exactly. That's still equal to that Oort. So that was equivalent to what I was talking about before, going back to the source or the underworld, the dark side, the melanin side. So that's what he meant when he spoke of org or the original.
But the efforts to eat organic, to go into that direction, would be to go into the origins, in other words. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. It's the frequency of the word.
Now, what about up and down, in and out, and black is white and white is black, and everything in the beginning in our first law, we were told in Genesis, was the Word. And the Word was God, and the Word was with God, and there was a void across. I'm paraphrasing here now. There was a void across the deep, right?
Right.
We still haven't got to the bottom of that, huh? Or should we be getting to the bottom? Or is it the top? Is it the underworld, or is it the ether in the upper realm? This is all very confusing.
So,
well, it's like when Dr.
I'm sorry, go ahead, brother.
It's like when Dr. Blair reluctantly used the term creator or supreme creator. He was reluctant and somewhat specific in the words he used. And going back to the fact that you can't describe the undescribable. The Creator is and was before any language. So considering words or spells, to even try to put a name to it is actually giving in to a lesser being, to a demigod, not the original. We bind ourselves with language, being parts of the Creator, here to have an individual experience. We're the only ones that can keep ourselves trapped here. That's when Dr. Bill was saying that they do anything they can to keep us here because they know that we can surpass them.
Okay, absolutely.
I'll segue with this to leave. Have any or all of you seen Get Out yet?
No, that's on my list. I was told by several people I need to see, and like you probably gonna do a show out of it. So no, I haven't seen
you're
it
gonna
yet.
you're gonna do a show on this worse than what you did with Dr. Strange, because I think it actually will tie the two together. So I'm not gonna spoil it for you, but I'm gonna leave on this aspect of it. The auction, you're going to understand. It's a so-called silent auction thing that goes on. But the dilemma is how and why they are still stealing melanated people and utilizing them in a particular way. I don't want to go too far because I want you to experience it first.
Yeah. Don't blow it for
react
me.
to it. But you brothers and sisters have to see this movie. If you only go see it one time, and I don't care about you giving money to a melanated brother married to a white woman, that's in confusion.
Right.
It's the next level of the Matrix, more specific than generic as the Matrix was. In other words, there's a specific message, particularly to melanated men. Now, thank you for your time, and social peace and love to everybody.
Okay, peace and love to you, brother. Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna. I may do the show on that next week because I was told last week you gotta see it. You gotta see it. I know you. And this particular person that told me, I had 3 people tell me, but the one person that told me said it was a lot of symbols in that movie. And I this person doesn't decode movies, okay? They don't really get into the real deep spiritual side. So for this person to say it, I said, oh, shit, I'm going to really have to take the time. So we may do that next week because I have to watch it like 2-3 times to put together a show with my notebook. So I'm going to strive to bring that back next week. Okay. All right. So, and thank you for that, brother. Thank you for that. Okay. Brother Sean, did you have anything you wanted to put on that last clip that was played?
No, I pretty much got off into it just now.
Okay. All right. And Brother Wendell, if you did, if not, we're gonna keep it moving. I don't want to if you don't have anything to add.
I want to make a comment about that movie Get Out.
Mhm.
I've seen somebody already break that down. So to me, it was like actually watching a movie. But I haven't heard anybody say it in this manner. But it was just a replay of a movie that we've already seen. To me, it reminded me of what was that movie Will Smith was in? He was the superhero.
Oh, Hancock,
it reminded me of Hancock.
That's interesting.
Because at the end of the day, what you're talking about in both movies is telling the melanated man to stay away from that pale face because you're going to get your power stolen from you, one way or the other.
So energy vampire.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Very, very interesting. Once you said Hancock, I had to go back to my memory bank. I said, oh, yep, now I remember. That's a very good point. I'm still going to watch it. I may or may not do a show on it. We'll see. But I'm sorry. Go ahead on, Brother Sean.
Yeah, but to add to that, I mean, like the brother that just left off said, it's a black man and a white woman. He's a biracial. He's biracial. He's a Jew. And his wife is a Jew. Jordan Peele.
Oh, I didn't know he was biracial.
Yeah, he started off on Mad TV. He done the whole dress thing back then.
Yeah, but I didn't know that he was biracial. Okay, that's very interesting. Did he come through the melanated portal or no?
No.
Okay, that's interesting. I did not know that.
Because if I remember correctly, through Jewish lineage, it goes through the mother.
Yes. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And it started, they had a $8.6 million budget to create the film.
Which is unheard of.
For its first time out the box. But because of all the hype and the division that the movie has caused, the first weekend it grossed $31 million or $33 million.
Mhm. That's
so
interesting.
It's all about the money. It's playing on the racial tensions as a distraction to keep us from self.
Mm-hmm.
As once again we giving our energy to something else.
Mm-hmm.
All these different breakdowns on what? A movie.
That's
worse
a good
stuff
point.
than that didn't happen to us. I mean, it's nothing new about it. I mean, it's letting it go. We feed this machine, like it said. I mean, they feed off our energy.
Yeah, that's why I say the first thing that hit my mind when I saw somebody break it down was we already seen that when Hancock came out. That's what that is again.
Yeah, because Hancock truly but again, I shouldn't say truly, because if you didn't know how to decode it, you wouldn't have got it. But yeah, I see where you're going with that, brother. That's a very good point. Okay, so I'm going to try to squeeze in two more things that I wanted to discuss. The only thing I wanted to put on the last video with Dr. Blair Valentine and Hemmett was the fact that Brother Valentine kind of backed up what Hemmett said in the previous videos about that spirit realm or the astral plane realm, as we talked about before. You have those entities, demigods, feeding off of the energy. And he also went into, he talked about the fall. So he talked about the original being coming in to this realm. So coming into this realm, that would be the spiritual, and how we were just, chilling in the spiritual realm. And then there was a falling, and he didn't use those exact words. He gave it to you from the scientific side about how much light you could handle. Okay, so that's what was him throwing that metaphysics science part to you. Okay, so I did like how he pretty much backed up what Brother Hemmett was saying in the previous video, except he gave it to you from a metaphysics / scientific way. But again, he made the point to say that these demigods, entities, feed off of you when you're still plugged into the system. So if you're still plugged into that religion, you still plugged into the politics, into government, and I throw on there following anyone but going within yourself. Essentially, you're still being fed off of. Okay. Alrighty. So with that said, I'm going to try to squeeze in two more. The next one is called The Keys to the Soul, and this is from Bobby Hemmett. This is off of the YouTube channel, Black Educational Channel, and I only took a snippet of this. This is only like 10 or 12 minutes. Now, here's the thing, y'all. Brother Wendell, if you haven't heard this particular one, I would urge you to go back to listen to it, because at the beginning of it, y'all, let me tell you something, baby, how they say in the South. He broke down the fall of Dr. York before he was called Dr. York. He was called something else. I can't think of the damn name, but he mentions it. I'm not playing all of that part, but I'm just putting that out there that Bobby Hemmett, talked about the fall of Dr. York, a decade before it happened, probably even 15 years before it happened. And he talked about how Dr. York created the El Holy Tablet. And Brother Wendell, he strictly said that he took all of Zechariah Stitch's work, the Earth Chronicles. He got a group of people. They sat in a room and pretty much took that body of work. He created the El Holy Tablets, but he did add his own essence into it. And he added enough into it where he could not be sued by Stinson and them. So I had heard those rumors before that the El Holy Tablets created by Dr. York was definitely a derivative or a spinoff from Zechariah Stinch's work. And I know, Brother Wendell, you said that consistently, not about the El Holy Tablets per se, but you said in general, most of the folks have lifted a lot of that Anunnaki work from Zechariah Stinch.
I told you a long time ago that I had heard Bobby on this particular one that you're about to play, and a couple more times where he said that Dr. York had got his material from.
Okay. Well, this was the first time I heard it on coming from Bobby. I had heard other people say it when I was talking to them one-on-one. But I'm not going to play that part tonight, y'all, because it's not about that. But I'm just saying, if you want to know that story, this particular video, he goes into it. It's off of the YouTube channel, Black Educational Channel, The Keys to the Soul. And he mentioned Dr. York by the name he went by before he was Dr. York. And what happened, the AJC, which is Atlanta Journal-Constitution, ran a story on Dr. York, but he wasn't named Dr. York then. And Bobby Hemmett even held up in the video the paper where they ran the story, and he said, "I'm telling you now, this nigga is gonna fall. They coming for him, because anytime they come and do a story on you like that, you already on their radar. They coming for you."
But don't forget the point that he made. His story in that paper was in color, not black and white either.
Sure was.
To make sure to identify him.
Sure was. Very good point. Very, very, very good. Extremely, extremely good point. So if you want to hear about that whole story, this video, he gives snippets of it. But again, we're not going to play that part. We're going to narrow in specifically on the keys to the soul. So let me play that. Okay, here we go.
To grow something new. Not your ass. Not the intestinal tract. Not the body, because the body is degenerating. You see what I'm coming from? It is only the excrement. Now, in the heaven realm, the physical body, or what we call the physical realm, is the excrement realm, the fallen realm. So it is the leftover fragments of the burnt-up ashes of heaven. That's what we are, because we fell down. We are the Nephilim. So therefore, the only thing that can create is us, not God up there. That is something that already happened. You understand where I'm coming from? So therefore, the actual Leviathan energy that the white boy is scared of, and in Trevor Ravenscroft's book, The Spear of Destiny, he said we must prepare for this Leviathan's energy. Leviathan is a dragon that's in the water. Anytime you get the word sea, you get the word water, it's also talking about the deep waves of the subconscious, the ocean, the sea, the cavern, the cave. And they say this particular Leviathan is up under the water. They said her head, once the head is broken of Leviathan, it's a metaphysical thing. When you break a head, you break a seal. And when you break a seal, you unleash a certain amount of energy. So on one hand, they talk about the Christ smoking the heads of Leviathan in the Bible. On another part of the Bible, they tell you that it is they say that God's going to open these damn seals up, in so many words. Then they talk about they're breaking some heads again. What this is actually talking about in alchemy is a breaking of the actual seeds, or it's also talking about that satanic realm or the excrement of creation now becoming the divine spark. So the Christ, which rode into Jerusalem on an ass, that particular ass which is set, the golden ass, in actuality is the actual excrement, which later on becomes the ray of light, because there can only be light born out of the damn darkness. In the beginning there was darkness. Then there was creation. Well, the creation, they say they brought order to chaos, or light to chaos. Well, then if you're going to create a new motherfucking heaven and earth like all ancient scriptures, that means there's got to be some more chaos to create that. Well, we know that particular chaos is in the melanin. Richard King told you that. And your boy Stephen Hawking, who is the astrophysicist, says, they say, well, the universe has no ending. That's what the white man said. Stephen Hawking says it does have an ending. They say, well, where is the end? He says it's the smallest point of a point of a point of a point. That smallest point of a point of a point of a point is in you. That's your soul. That's the true you. That micro soul, or what they call the dwarf energy. Now, ending this thing up. This break into the science on what this shit is really talking about is this. A woman called in on the show, on this radio show, and asked one of these guys, this scientist. She says, is there anything on earth, how did she say this? Is there anything on earth that is not that is alien to the earth? And he said, well, that's going to be kind of hard to say, because they said we can find every composite in space. We can also find in earth. So they said everything that's out in space, which is basically carbon, we can find in earth. They said the only thing that we know of that is alien to not only earth and the universe is this. So first of all, the Bible says we're going to have a new heaven and a new earth. A new heaven and a new earth. The only thing that they say is alien to both the earth and the universe, and which is basically the alien God, is some stuff that is in dwarf stars, which is burnt out stars, that is packed so tight till it produces a white powder or a white seed, that if that particular white seed was to ever become manifested either in the universe or on earth, the whole particular earth would explode. Now, based on alchemy and based on what the white boy knows, that dwarf white substance that they say that's theory, they can't go to a damn burnt off star and find this shit. But the only theory that they know where this stuff actually is inside of the melanin. That white stone, which is invisible. They say in the white, it's invisible enough. But in a dwarf star, which is probably big as the earth, it would be this white substance. This is based on their calculation. But in us, it's an invisible seed that escapes even when we die. They don't even get that. All the melanin, they can't get this little seed. That's the soul. But one atom of this, the entire earth will explode, and that, my friend, is the true Christ. That's the true Christos that they're talking about, this white stone or this white seed. But of this particular white seed, but it can only be produced in something that is burnt out. So the excrement is something that was used up, it burned out, and from the burning out, it made a new seed. And from that, after it's matured, it will illuminate. You get it? Got it. That seed, and that, my friend, is the Christ. So the only thing down here that is old enough to have that seed in it is black people, older than the goddamn dinosaurs, older than everything else, even older than nature, because we created nature. They even got the new Gnostic scriptures dug up in 1945 when they talk about this Eve person, or this feminine energy taking her essence and creating everything. You see. They even talk about Isis creating everything. So we understand that this particular seed. So now this also gives another question. The Christ couldn't have come 2,000 years ago. Otherwise, he's just another nigga like us. Because if he was the manifestation of this seed, then we wouldn't be here to even be talking about the Christ right now, because it would have been over. And what we're saying that the whole Revelation text with the seals, the abyss, the dragons, and all that is an alchemical cooking pot talking about a thermonuclear energy, a subatomic energy, and that's the soul. But the shit is that can be in any goddamn nigga bumming for quarters around a gas station, and that is the damn enigma to life. So now to wind this thing up, what they are scared of at this particular time is the dreaded Nostradamus prophecy, the dreaded everything at this particular time, because basically everything is manifested. But then again, that's the way the spiritual shit is. It manifests in a time when we even give up on Negroes. Who like, man, hell, shit. And it manifests in a time now that it's scary. I don't know about New York, but down south, white people treat you better than black people all day. That's just some scary shit. Oh, hi. No, motherfucker, I don't want you to be nice to me. No, but my point is, we understand ultimate, collectively, they are the devil. We don't stray from that. You don't get that out of me. My point is, they do treat you better than most niggas and shit. I walked down the street in damn New York, and all the black people trying to run over your ass, they ain't stopping up a damn. Y'all know what the hell I'm talking about. My point is, it is the spirit to even make the white boy to the point where as he gets secure that it ain't coming out of us when it does. He said, oh, we got them niggas. We done killed them all up. We did everything to them and they ain't produced no Christ. And when they merely think that it's over and they get their guards now, that's when it's up. But there are those that is in the higher order that understand that, hey, man, even though they didn't produce, we got to do this anyway just in case. So therefore, for the mere fact that we see them getting rid of their commander-in-chief, you understand what I'm saying? For basically no reason at all, no reason that no other president has done. You understand what I'm saying? Let you know in actuality they have to do this particular part and call it a quote-unquote crisis because there's something greater actually happening at this particular time. There's something greater actually happening. So what we're dealing with now, we're really, at this particular time, we can say, as conscious people, based on the course of the last year, that, man, we are actually literally seeing the manifestation on what is to come. We are right in the thick of this particular part, you see, on what's going, because I'm telling you, anytime, and Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, when self accuses self, that's when you know the end will be. But we understand that the house has been burning down. In actuality, like the guy Emil Bach said in his book Revelation Out of Kemet, a revelation of Apocalypse of St. John, the revelation would go on for 10 years, and the people would have been in it 10 damn years and wouldn't even know it, because they would have grown used to bad news. But my point is, they are running scared, and I know some shit is happening, and even Bill Lilly said it. He told me yesterday. He said, something is damn strange, man. When we walking down the street yesterday, downtown Brooklyn and all over Manhattan, and we hardly seeing nobody. Shit all shut down. Now, I don't give a damn how many laws Giuliani passed. There got to be some kind of experimentation. When I walk around, I walk 5 blocks in Brooklyn in July in the damn heat at 12 o'clock at night on a goddamn Thursday night, and I can't find no niggas out in July. It was a Thursday night. What kind of shit is that? I go to Atlanta, 6 o'clock, all black people off the street in the inner city. The inner city is looking like fucking damn Oregon. You see what I'm saying? So we're talking about some experimentation that's actually going on when we see this type of things actually happening. And this cracker knows this anytime goddamn 42nd Street turned to Disney. That couldn't have happened 10 years ago. You see, in order to turn it into Disney, that means you got to get rid of the motherfucking people on 47th Street, because Disney would be tainted just by all the people that hang out that particular way. So at this particular time, we're gonna turn the whole thing over to William Valentine.
Okay, family. I don't know. That was choppy for me. I don't know. It may have just been me. Sorry about that. I don't know why it was so damn choppy. So that was The Keys to the Soul, Bobby Hemmett. That was just a snippet of it off of the Black Educational Channel. Okay, so I'll start with Sis. Did you have anything you wanted to put on that?
No, I think I will pass on it.
Okay, all right. Brother Sean or Brother Wendell?
I think we can keep it rolling. I'm good.
Yeah, let's keep it rolling. I'm with that right there.
I know. I love that because, he basically, again, I know it was a repeat of what we talked about before. He put it in a different light. But again, we're still talking about the original souls are the ones with the power. And this particular clip, I liked how he described how even the scientific, quote, the mainstream media scientific community described the alien that they know of this particular realm as that particle. And Brother Bobby described it as that is really the soul. And so when he talked about that, it put me in the mind of, and don't quote me on which biblical scripture it came from. Shit, I don't know. Powerful as a mustard seed. So it made me think of that particular element, but the power that possessed in the soul can wipe out the entire planet or universe. So this is why it was important to keep those original souls down, okay? Because number one, they possess the power to say, you know what, damn all of this, poof. And then the other fashion of it, they could, the demigods, remember the demigods, the folks in the spiritual realm or astral plane, could no longer feed off of those original beings. So that would make them less and less weak. Okay. But as he said, and again, I said this was about 10 years before Dr. York fell. I think he went down like in 2002, if I'm remembering right. So this was still back in the 90s when he said that, weird things were happening. And he was alluding to the fact that not everybody has to wake up for things to start to be put in motion. So now this is just Rhonda's little 2 cents. This is my opinion. You discern it the way you want to discern it. Throw it out. Do whatever you wish with it. So, I feel that the folks that are coming online to get it done, shit, I lost my thought, and I hate that because it was a damn good point. Hopefully it'll come back to me. I'm sorry, family. I done lost my point, and damn, it was good. That's what I get. Okay. All right. So my breakdown of this, and we're going to go into one last one. We're not going to have time to go into folks that do not have a soul and how you can disconnect from the soul. But my little breakdown of what we've gone over tonight is that, number one, we all agree that the soul is infinite. It defies space and time. It always was. If you deem yourself to have a soul, if you deem yourself as a part of the original, that means you were here before there was this particular realm that we're in. And you were with the all in all. And, I talked about this earlier, that we are in the age of knowing this particular information. And I think I remember my point, but I'm going to keep going anyway. And so we're in the age of knowing this information and therefore breaking the limitations that were taught to us under the system of these demigods. Okay, and we also talked about this. This is being the concept of religion and the concept of a Messiah, because they're one and the same. Okay, and this also includes believing that there is an entity higher than you that you must go through to get shit done. And so again, I say, if you deem yourself as having a soul, then this by default makes you an infinite being who is only limited to the limits that you put on yourself. Now, that doesn't excuse you as an infinite being or soul. I like the better choice of soul. It doesn't excuse you as an infinite soul to whatever decisions you make. There is still a cause and an effect, and especially when you're dealing in these different realms. Okay, so that's just my little tidbit of wrapping up about the particular concept of a soul and us recognizing who we truly are and the power that we have. Okay, so with that said, this is going to be the last one. We only have 10 minutes left. Damn, let me see if we got enough time. I hope we do. This is Brother Young Pharaoh, and he talks about the concept, and this damn brother, he broke them. I'm going to tell you, he broke this shit down. We going to have time if I shut the hell up. We might rock out with it. If so, thank you very much for tuning in, but I really want to rock out with this. This is Brother Pharaoh discussing about how people get disconnected from their soul.
Peace, family. This video right here is about no soul, people not having souls. Now, there's two aspects to this. Some people are actually non-humanoid or melanated light beings, and they don't exist past this dimension, so they don't come to this dimension or realm with a soul. So, for example, Caucasians, 85% of Caucasians are born with calcified pineal glands. The pineal gland is an organ which allows the head of the soul to take a seat in the vehicle, which is the body. By them not having having calcified pineal glands, their bodies cannot inhabit a soul. So that is one aspect of a person not having a soul, or an entity not having a vehicle that inhabit a soul. So they just walk around like zombies on the physical realm. But the aspect I'm using is how people, specifically melanated beings, can come into existence with a soul and end up without one. Now the point I'm about to make here is environment. The definition of an environment is the circumstances which influence a living organism. Now before I go on, I have to give you a perspective. We understand that we are not these bodies. We are the souls that inhabit these bodies. So you have to stop looking at the construct as you're a body with a soul. No, you're a soul with a body. So with that being said, you are the controller of the physical realm. Now what happens is, when the physical realm becomes overwhelming with negative phenomena, the soul can no longer want to take place in that experience and eject. Now an example I'm going to give you of this is, you have people who go through such life traumatic situations that they actually disconnect from themselves. Now before I break that down, I'm going to give you the connection. The emotional body is the middle. It's the medium. So the emotional body connects your physical body to your spiritual body. So now when you look at most people who do sick, twisted things, they all have one thing in common. They don't give a fuck. They don't care. They don't have an emotional body. Why? Because their soul is disconnected, so they can't feel nothing. So now, before I go on to my point, the Caucasian teaches you that through his patrilineal system, or his over-masculated egotistical system, that men don't be emotional, men don't cry, don't hold your girl hand in public, don't do anything that will invoke love and emotion. Why? Because that keeps the spirit out the body. Because if you're not emotionally present and you don't know that the emotion is like a meter to let you know that your soul is here, then you won't know you won't never try to get yourself present in this realm because you've been disconnected. Now, I'm not saying go outside and act like a female or be homosexual. It's everything that's balanced. But what I'm saying is there is a certain level of emotional stability that everybody should pertain, because that lets you know if how present you are here in this body. Now, going back to my point, let's say a little girl or a little boy has been molested or touched when they was kids or their whole life. We all grew up in hellish households. Now, with that being said, you can go through something so traumatizing that you blank out, that you do what we call blank out. Your soul disconnect. It doesn't want to be here. So you physically going through the motions, but spiritually, you gone, because it's just like an airplane that's gonna crash. Right? Just like when you know that a bad experience is coming, you hit eject and you let the plane go through its phase. Same thing with the body. The soul, if the soul is put into a negative experience that it's not strong enough to handle, and your mind of the individual is not strong enough to handle, the soul will eject and disconnect itself. And now the lowest part of the mind, which is the physical realm or the physical existence, that will be the only thing left to go through the experience. This is why you have people, this is the point of when they say somebody's mentally dead. You're not really mentally dead. It's just your soul is not present. You're not conscious. It's like when people walk up the street and they be on the phone, they're so focused in the phone, they're not conscious, they're not present, and you walk right into something and you be like, damn, I didn't even see that, and it was right there, because your body's on autopilot, but all your consciousness is focused somewhere else. This is the same thing with a traumatic experience. Your consciousness goes somewhere else, and now your body, and you just going through life on autopilot. So now coming back to my point, the way people come through the world with no souls end up with no souls, melanated beings, is we go through the most traumatic mental, physical, and emotional and spiritual abuse than anybody else on the planet. And some of us are not strong enough to withstand this abuse because we shouldn't be going through it anyway. So what happens is we disconnect from ourselves, and then we grow up what people will call heartless. And then you end up with little 13, 14-year-old, 15-year-old boys out here killing people in cold blood, or little girls out here having sex with everybody and don't care about themselves and call themselves bad bitch because they became heartless because their soul is not present anymore. So since the soul is not there, the emotional body is not connecting, because the emotional body is just gravitation on a metaphysical scale to let you know what you're experiencing, because you're the soul. So it's like, kind of think of like the Iron Man suit. Your body is the Iron Man suit. So like if somebody does something to you, the soul processes that through, let's say if I tell you shut up, that wasn't right. So now the soul knows, okay, anger. Or if I tell you I love you, now the soul is feeling that. The soul experiences that through the physical realm through love. So the emotions are just like signals to let the soul know what it is experiencing at that current time in the physical body. So now when you go through something so traumatic, your soul might say, I don't want to experience that. So it disconnects, it ejects, and now it leaves the lowest level of its own consciousness here to experience that. And what most of us don't understand by not knowing the science is we forget to come back in the damn body. So now you got 30, 40, 50, 60-year-old people who have been disconnected from themselves since they was 15, 16 because their stepfather molested them, or they got beat up and something happened to them, or something happened to them so traumatic, or you got little girls who I've seen personally, you grow up in a house, they 10, 12, 11, mom telling them bitch this, bitch that, you calling your own daughter a bitch, and you putting them through hell, you kicking them out, son, you kick your son out, feed him to the wolves, and you put your child through so much trauma, or don't care, or you got people who just live in a household that's so hellish that they disconnect. And now they 20, 30, 40, and they never actually reconnected with themselves. And now they lost. When we look at the black community, most people are so lost because it is in our very households that is stimulating such evil that is causing us to disconnect. And then we go out into the world already not present just from a household that we grew up in. So the Bible ain't going to teach you this. It's not going to save you. Doctrines are not going to save you. You have to understand who you are in order to save yourself. You have to be able to look on those situations and say, damn, that's what happened to me, and that's why I really don't give a fuck about nothing. When you look at kids, most black teenagers, they don't want to go to school. They don't want to do nothing but sit around and smoke weed all day. They fucking like rabbits, and they don't care about nothing. You can't tell them nothing. They don't want to hear it. Why? Because it's not what you telling them they don't care about. It's they have been through so much traumatic shit, physically, mentally, and emotionally, that nobody else has cared about or even sat down to think about, that they have disconnected from this realm. So now you're talking to them, and you breaking your neck to get them the vision and see what they need to do, and you just like, I don't understand why my son don't get it. I don't understand why my daughter don't get it. They don't see they're going down the wrong path because they're not even present. They don't even care. Their soul is so gone that they become what you call hard-hearted. They don't give a fuck about nothing. Why? Because they don't even realize they're not even conscious in their bodies because of the environment you